Well, we got a tad bit out of order there with a couple things in the background, and not the best way to start off, but I think is otherwise going to be a great broadcast here on the Full Send Racing Network. Welcome, everybody, to the Fan Appreciation 85 tonight, the 15th round of the 9th season of the Bandit Racing League. As always, you know me, I am your lead commentator, your lead broadcast producer, Mr. Marshall Crocker Jr. Alongside me, as always, in the booth is, well, the yin to my yang, the mustard to my ketchup in terms of broadcasting, and the guy who got so much done for this series, and the guy I will eternally be grateful for, because without it, these broadcasts would not be possible. Mr. Evan Wall, he is back with us, and tonight we got a big show in store. It's going to be fun, I think, overall. The Fan Appreciation 85. We got plenty of stuff to talk about, plenty of stuff to give away to you guys. And before we get into anything, before we really get into the details of tonight's race, we're first going to go over what tonight's going to look like. So, for starters, you will have already seen in the chat, which we will be checking all the way through tonight's race. You will have already seen the information about the first giveaway tonight. We're giving away some t-shirts, and always cool to have some fun Bandit merch of your own. You know, you see it on the broadcast, and you see, well, the new t-shirt that, again, there's the logo. You can kind of see it vaguely. It's in black there, but it is a very nice shirt, I assure you. But you know, you guys see the t-shirts and stuff on the broadcast, but you're probably wondering, you know, how do I get involved? How do I throw my name out there for a t-shirt of my own? So yeah, as you see in the chat, our very own Bill Harkins is giving them away. So you're going to put Bandit swag. I don't think caps is particularly a particularly worry. So whatever you feel like doing, just throw it in there in the chat, and you will be entered. That's really all you need to know for now. And then later in the race, he will come back and make an announcement as to who will win the 3 free t-shirts. So put a comment down there, and you will be entered to win. In addition to that, a old fan favorite, it's back. We're doing trivia again, ladies and gentlemen. We love doing it. I actually really enjoy writing them. I think that the questions are fun to make, and they help me do a little bit of research about the series. So trivia is back. You guys know how that works. If you haven't done it before, you're going to go down to the description. My email is there, the one that I use for giveaways like this. So you're going to go to the email, and you're going to put in the email, you're going to put your name, and you're going to put the email that you would like to be responded back to. And if you'd like to put trivia in the subject line, that would be ideal, because then we know what we're talking about. But the deal with trivia is you have to be registered for trivia before the first question goes up. So it'll be a little bit of time before then. But remember, for trivia, you're going to go down to that email in the description, your name, your email you'd like to respond back at, or you'd like us to respond back to at, and then put trivia somewhere in the subject line, just so we know what it's for. And that's how you'll be entered for that. Finally, we have one more giveaway, because, man, it's Fan Appreciation Night tonight. We want to get you guys plenty of stuff. The final giveaway is in honor of it being the final race of the regular season. Trey Ellis, our very own driver of the number 4. We'll see if we can maybe find him on track out there, if he is currently out. But he is going to give away $25 to a lucky fan for tonight's race if you can pick a first-time winner that wins in tonight's race. So, as we'll talk about Auto Club in a couple minutes, Auto Club is a very fun track, but it's very competitive. It's much more wide open. It's a big track, kind of like a super speedway, but a little bit more technical. Plenty of people could win, and we're looking for a first-time winner this season. He's doing the same thing, going to give $25 American to the driver who wins their first race tonight. But as a fan, you put in the description anybody you feel like could get their first win of the season this year. So that could be somebody like Hunter Henry. That could be somebody like Cody Welch. I mean, he does count. He does count as a first-time winner this season. Same with Kevin Foster, Mark Allen Bibbins, Jason Greenwell, Matt Crockett, plenty of people to name. And you'll see more information about the drivers in the series in general in just a moment. So you'll have more people to pick from. But in the chat, just put a driver you predict, and if you are correct, we will work that out at the end of the broadcast, and you'll get your $25 if you're correct and if that driver wins. So there you go. It's been a big load of things to get over so far, but it's going to be fun for Fan Appreciation tonight. And just generally speaking, we'll go to you, Evan, but the race itself, final round of the regular season, what a season it's been to this point so far. And now we finally get to declare not only a regular season champion, but see who's making it into our playoffs.
Yeah, I feel like it's been so long coming to finally get here to the end of the regular season, but also it feels like just yesterday we had Daytona. It's just a mixture of emotions. I'm happy we're here, and it's going to be a really fun playoffs no matter who these drivers get in. It's going to be really fun to watch the drivers try and get in. We've got a tight little battle. We'll talk about that a little bit later, right on the cutoff line. So we'll be watching that really closely throughout the night so we can see who gets in the playoffs. And then at the end, we'll probably talk to some of these drivers about their playoff runs, how they're gonna move forward once they're in the playoffs, because I'm sure some of these guys that we're going to interview here once the night is over, I'm sure there'll be some of our drivers that are in the playoffs. So it'll be really exciting to get to talk to these guys and not only be here on such a fun racetrack, but get to talk about the races that we've got coming up in the playoffs, because it's going to be a lot of fun.
Without a doubt, and we'll get plenty more into that as the race goes on. I promise we'll get to the proper racing in just a moment. But as our final kind of fun festivity for the pre-race for tonight's Fan Appreciation 85, that is meant to, again, I haven't really talked about it yet, but we want to represent you guys, the fans. You guys are the reason these broadcasts happen. You're the reason that these drivers come out every week and are so excited to do what they do in front of you guys, and it's just so special and so important. And I'll talk plenty about it throughout the race, so I'll get to the stuff we have to do now. But thank you guys so much, and I'm sure I'll say that plenty of times. But in honor of fan appreciation, instead of a driver profile, the graphic will still say driver profile, but we did not interview a driver this week. Instead, we interviewed Shanti Henry, who is the mother of fan favorite himself, Hunter Henry, and is the aunt of a fellow series driver, Roman Henry. And I wanted to get her take. She's been a fan of the series for a long time, frequent commenter, and I believe she was a multiple-time trivia participant. I believe she won one of them. Might be wrong, but she's been a great series supporter in the past. So we wanted to sit down and talk to her and get a fan's perspective for this week's fan profile. And here we go. Okay, well, we're doing something a little bit different this week on the Full Send Racing Network coverage of the Bandit Racing League for the Fan Appreciation 85 this week at Auto Club. We wanted to do something a little different, and rather than talk to another driver, talk to somebody kind of more behind the scenes with a little bit of a different perspective. So, Shanti Henry, welcome to the broadcast, and it's so great to talk to you. You've been somebody that I'm familiar with for a long time. You've always been one of our more active, in the chat participants. So it's great to meet you face to face. And well, first of all, I just kind of want to, learn more about you and your background, how you got into the series. So between your son and Hunter Henry and your nephew Roman, what's your relationship to the series, and how did you find out about us?
Well, thank you for having me, and it's a lot of fun to watch. I would imagine it's a lot of fun to drive, but I'm not very good at that. Anything that has to do with my kids, I do enjoy being a part of. When they were in sports in school, I was there screaming on the sidelines, and that's what I do here. You just can't hear me. But we like racing. We grew up racing. We're NASCAR fans. Go Chase Elliott, hometown boy. But so Hunter was the one that told me about it last year when he joined the league. And of course, I'm going to watch him. So I've watched every race he's been in. And, we text back and forth, when there's a caution or something like that. So I don't know how he does that, drive and whatever it is y'all do on the radio at the same time. But, he's young and nimble, and I guess they can do that. So that's how I got started. And, every Wednesday night at 9:00, I turn on the computer, and that's what I do.
Awesome. Yeah, it's so great. I know you've been here for quite a long time. I think you started watching, I think you said, about when I joined the series at the start of last year. So it's been a while, but it's been a fun journey for sure. And just curious. So first of all, over the course of those 2 seasons, obviously it was Evan broadcasting last year on his own channel, and it's since come to me. We've gone through a lot of different co-commentators, a lot of different stuff on the broadcast side. But in your time watching the series, how do you feel like it's changed since you started watching?
I think the technology is better. Just being here for 2 seasons, it's kind of hard. I like the visual that you have. The replays are good, in-car cameras. So I think from a technological view, it's good. It's better. I like the commentators, and your take on it. It's always very positive, and I appreciate that. And I really enjoyed the trivia night. That was good. I think I missed it whatever night Hunter missed a race. I think there was another trivia and I missed it. But I really liked that. There's some good back and forth in the chat. I can't offer any recommendations. I wouldn't know what to tell you anyway. So it's like y'all got it going on.
Well, we're always trying to improve. We're always trying to find new ways. But that's perfect about the trivia, because tomorrow night for the Fan Appreciation Night, we're doing more trivia again. So there's always more opportunities, and plenty of people have brought forward stuff they're going to do and stuff they're going to host. So there's going to be plenty for everybody tonight. But yeah, it's so. I mean, finally, talking about your enjoyment in the series, coming out each and every week, what is it that you really enjoy? What keeps you coming back, and what do you think till the end of the season? Do you think? Just a long story short, what is it you enjoy about the series, and what do you expect for the end of the season going forward?
I know that there's a lot of favorites out there, and as far as their ability to win, but I think there's a good spread this season, seems to be, of newcomers and unlikely winners, maybe, that are almost there, and then something bad happens on the last couple of laps. But I think that it's really on the cusp of new winners, and so that's exciting. What keeps me coming back, it's my son. He's my heart, and so, whatever he's involved with, that's legal. Just kidding. I will be a part of. So.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I wish him the best of luck. Like I was just saying before the interview, yeah, he's well into the playoffs. I think he's officially punched his way in going into tonight's race even. So for the playoffs, it's a format where you win one race and suddenly you find yourself pretty deep in the playoffs. So what do you think? Knowing the time he puts in, knowing how well he's done this season, do you give him a good chance to go pretty far this year?
I'm always going to pull for him. I'm always going to say Hunter's going to win, but I think he has set his goal to being, okay, let me get at this level, because he's pretty realistic about his experience in the league. Hunter's always been one of those that even without practice, he's going to excel. He's just kind of got that knack. I remember one time he had the flu. I mean, the flu big time. And for extra credit at school, they had to go run a 5K. The boy never runs. I mean, he plays soccer, but he was sick with the flu. It was drizzling rain and cold, and he went out there and he won. And I'm like, what is he do? Who is that running over there? Oh, that's Hunter. What does he do? So he just has a knack for, okay, I think I'll go do that, and he does well. So I don't know. Maybe we'll all be surprised, and he'll win a race here pretty soon.
Awesome. Well, I know many out there are pulling for him, and I certainly would be more than happy to see him do well this year. And yeah, that same attitude to never give up and persevere, I think is going to be just what the guys need for 9 long rounds this year for the playoffs. So, well, that's awesome.
If he does happen to pull that off, you'll probably hear me screaming all the way in Canada.
well, we'll have to get you on the line there on the broadcast, and we'll get a live interview with both of you sometime. So, yeah, if that happens, I look forward to it. But awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time. It was great to talk to you. And yeah, hopefully you and everybody else enjoys the race tomorrow. And yeah, it'd be great to talk to you again sometime. So thank you again.
Well, thank you so much. Go fan favorite.
Yes. And there we go. It was a bit of a longer video than I expected. We accidentally used the unedited version, but I swear that is the end of our brief slip-ups for the broadcast. All done and out of the way, and now it is time to get to the proper racing. And as you may see up there, you're going to see the results in qualifying ticking by. And we have a development for the second week in a row. The man himself who told us that he was not going to be the driver who was, succeeding in any meaningful capacity. He wasn't feeling good about last week, and he's not feeling good about this week. Mr. Brandon Jackson appears to be your pole sitter for tonight's race at Auto Club. Evan, he's just been surpassed by Ricky Hart, so there goes that. It's no longer going to be the case, but this always seems to happen to us, and as we wait for our final results here for qualifying, which has just come to an end, Evan, why do you think it is that whenever a driver tells us, oh, this isn't going to be my week, this is going to be the one that slips me by, they magically find something during the race and they seem to do great?
I don't know. I don't have any insight towards that one. And honestly, I have never seen anyone other than Brandon do that. Usually when drivers say they don't like a track, they tend to do pretty bad. But somehow, every single time Brandon says he doesn't like a track or he doesn't like a vehicle, there he is up there near the front of the leaderboard yet again. So we'll see what happens at the end of the race, though.
We will indeed. That is all we can do. And now it is time for the starting lineup for tonight's race at Auto Club and the Fan Appreciation 85, the final round of the regular season. We'll get you all the information you need to know momentarily. But for starters, on the pole, it is not Brandon Jackson. At the very last moment, he was surpassed by former series champion of a couple seasons ago, Ricky Hart Jr. in the 64 truck, a two-time winner this season. He goes to the pole in tonight's regular season finale, looking for his third win of the season. On the outside pole, Brandon Jackson said moments ago he wouldn't be feeling great about tonight, but you never know. Don't count the ultra-successful 99 truck out. Sean Britt, a great result on the inside of the second row with Benjamin Lacey, last season's winner at the same track, to his outside. Nick Nickerson, the season points leader in the 5th spot. Cody Welch to his outside was the runner-up to his championship win last season. He'll be starting outside of him in row 3. Then it's Peter Murphy, looking for his way into the playoffs tonight. He's on the cutoff. He's the first driver below the cutoff tonight, and he is starting in 7th, a big race for the 38 truck. Cale Zook in the 44 starting 8th. Trey Ellis starting 9th, and Benny Hogan rounds off the top 10.
In 11th place is going to be Daniel Stein in the 87 truck. Good to see him back. Followed in 12th by Christopher Ferreira, the other driver right on the cutoff. Him and Peter are going to be the two trucks to really watch tonight. 13th is going to be the 51 of Curtis Yancey, followed by Andrew Zook in 14th. Jonas Luzatter in 15th. I am very sorry if I mispronounced that name. Kevin Foster in 16th. Eddie Hagge in 17th, followed by Nolan Gross, Mark Allen Bivens, and Terry Condis to round off your top 20.
Following that, in the 21st spot, we got Matt Crockett. In the 22nd position, David Lakey. Jonathan Platt in 23rd was quick in practice. Jason Romy, the Canadian, in 24th. Mason Flagar, 25th. Michael Ramos to his outside, 26th. Jackson Knock in 27th. Brandon Gears starting 28th. Gary Wright and Connor Sawyer will be the drivers to round out the top 30.
31st is going to be Anthony Caetano, followed by Joshua McQuiggan, Matt M. Johnson, Garrett Hall, Connor Zook, James R. Hartley, Jason Greenwell, John Graham, Steve Ulrich, Bill Harkins, Travis Smith, and Alan Castle in your final spot of 42nd position.
And there is your grid for tonight's race. Again, it was another one of those jam-packed pre-shows, so we still got a little bit to show you. But one thing we should mention before we go into tonight is your playoff cutoff situation, what it's looking like overall in the championship, because tonight there are guys who need to work their way in. Here is the current playoff bracket heading into tonight's finale here at Auto Club after last week's race at Phoenix. So there are your drivers currently in the playoffs. Anybody in green or orange is officially locked in on points. Hunter Henry is pretty comfortably in there. He will not be racing tonight, but he is comfortably sitting there in points, though he's not officially locked in. Hagge and Lakey both 23 points above the cutoff, 10 for Ramos, 3 for Sawyer, and Ferreira is dead even. He is the cutoff driver. So Peter Murphy is a couple spots back there. We'll talk more about the playoffs just in general as this race goes on, but for now, we have a race to start here for the Fan Appreciation 85 at Phoenix. Here we go. It's going to be a good event. Get your seat strapped on here. Get ready for some trivia. Put your answers down there for the prizes. And here we go. Green flag for the first time tonight at Auto Club. Jackson, Hart, Britt, Lacey, and Welch taking it to green here at Auto Club Speedway in California.
Already, guys, scattering all over the track. Side by side, it's the 99 of Brandon Jackson. Up on the outside, the 64 of Ricky Hart Jr. Down on the bottom, Jackson's really in the middle lane. A little bit of a squiggle there from one of the cars in the back. But the 99 and the 64 are going to start to work together. The 7 of Benjamin Lacey, he's early looking up there on the outside with a little bit of help from Cody Welch.
You can already see plenty of traffic. Everybody's splitting into 2 wide, 3 wide rows. So many lines here at Auto Club, such a wide track. Everybody's starting to phase out. You see Curtis Yancey there looking high. Further up in the field, Brandon Jackson on lap 1. Already making moves up ahead of Ricky Hart, though. Ricky gets back by him on the outside, gets the run, and will lead the first lap from the pole.
Yeah, big move from Brandon Jackson down to the bottom lane. He's going to be 3 wide right now. He's got the 7 truck of Benjamin Lacey up to his outside. And now it's starting to settle back out. The 99 falling back. The 64 is going to be your clear-cut leader at the moment, but the 7 of Benjamin Lacey is directly behind him, and the 85 of Cody Welch isn't too far back, right on his tail.
Further back in the field, we saw Mason Flagar dip out to the apron, went way off the racing line. Not sure if he's got something wrong trying to get back to the pits, but he is well off the pace now heading into turn 3. Back up front, still Ricky Hart, but Cody Welch up 4 spots in the 85 truck. One of those guys this season, you may want to keep an eye out for Trey Ellis's deal. Remember, put in the chat the driver that you think could get their first win of the season tonight. You only have a couple laps to do so. We'll still be accepting entries, but if you are correct and they do win their first race of the season, you will win $25, and he is not a bad pick whatsoever. Cody Welch up to the high line, side by side with Brandon Jackson, who's going to wash up into him a little bit, but does give him the space he needs. And it is Jackson, Welch, side by side, a little ways further back. It's Peter Murphy, who again, really important night tonight for the number 38 truck. He is sitting 7 points below the cutoff heading into tonight's race. And man, if he was able to get a good spot and certainly finish well ahead of Christopher Ferreira, he could all but lock himself into the playoffs tonight here at Auto Club.
Yeah, this is just a routine night for some of these guys. Ricky Hart Jr., Brandon Jackson, Nick Nickerson, a lot of these guys, this is just like any other race, but for some of these, this race is really important if they want to continue their hopes of possibly just competing for a championship here in the Bandit Racing League. There's so much talent of all those names that I mentioned. Cody Welch, he's locked in, but he wants to get that momentum coming in. He hasn't had a win on this season, so it's going to be really important. He really wants to get that win going in. He doesn't want to be locked in on points. He wants to be locked in on a win, but it's going to be really important for some of these other guys that are a little bit further down. The 13 of Christopher Ferreira. He's one of those guys sitting in 11th position right now, but Peter Murphy, he's a couple of points out. We talked about it a little bit earlier. We'll talk about it a little bit more here in just a second, but Peter Murphy right now is running in 4th position, and like we said, he's just a couple of points out, so it's going to be really important that he has a good night here tonight.
Yeah, Christopher Ferreira not doing too bad for himself, trying to sneak into the top 10 as we speak. And yeah, he's a guy who really just needs to lock it down and conserve his points. Just want to very quickly put up here. Here is the bubble watch here after Phoenix heading into the final round today at Auto Club. So you see the two drivers just barely in on the cutoff. Peter Murphy only 7 points down, or sorry, should I say 9 points. Bill Harkins as well in that conversation, but as he's already guaranteed as the league owner, he will be giving up his spot if and when he is able to make it into the playoffs tonight. So regardless, that spot will be given up. So essentially it's Peter Murphy versus Christopher Ferreira tonight for that final transfer spot. But important to mention, something we talked about last weekend, as we go 4 wide here heading up to the line, we cannot forget about the great racing we're seeing early here as Sean Britt in the 98 staying in the conversation there on the bottom line. But right now, Ricky Hart continues to lead there, a couple car lengths ahead up front. We are 3 wide heading through turn number 1, almost 4 as the 98 peaks underneath.
Yeah, already some really great racing all over the track here. Really no shortage of great racing, as even in the back we're seeing drivers cut down low. But right at the front, some of these first couple of guys have started to single file out. Ricky Hart Jr. has a little bit of a gap now. Brandon Jackson, he's doing everything he can to try and chase him down, but he doesn't have too much competition. Cody Welch sitting there in 3rd fairly cleanly right now. It's really 4th place that you see this side-by-side battling again, and that's where Peter Murphy, Benjamin Lacey, Trey Ellis, those guys are.
Just gonna say quickly again in terms of the overall, festivities for tonight's event. Remember, in a couple laps, we're gonna do our first trivia question of tonight's trivia contest. So you can win yourself another Bandit T-shirt similar to the 3 that you win from the chat competition in tonight's event. You can also win another free T-shirt from being tonight's trivia winner. So remember, go to the email in the description below, put trivia in the subject, and then put your name and the email you'd like to be answered back at, and you'll be ready for our 3rd trivia contest of the season, starting in just a couple short laps.
Yeah, these trivia questions, they're definitely some good ones. They're not the easiest, they're not the hardest either, but they are definitely not a walk in the park. This is going to be some fun trivia questions. I really liked putting these together. I think they're going to be a lot of fun to see. Right now we're seeing a little bit of side-by-side action here, looking at the 4 of Trey Ellis. This is right behind Peter Murphy. The 4 of Trey Ellis is going to jump down low. Nick Nickerson is going to be the driver there in the middle. Sean Britt up top. Trey Ellis gaining a couple spots. He's not going to be side-by-side coming out of the corner. With Peter Murphy, drop it back a little bit.
A little bit of movement there you saw from Trey Ellis. Looks like he couldn't quite commit to the line, but does get back in time and doesn't cause any substantial checkups here. A little back further in the field, I want to take a look at some guys that are having great races so far, kind of moving their way through the field. Jonathan Platt here in the 43. He's up 9 spots from 23rd to 14th. He's got Kevin Foster, one of the top series points leaders. I think he's 2nd in the points overall heading into tonight, sitting right behind him there in that orange number 8 truck. Other than that, we got Michael Ramos, who's also moved up 9 spots, and he is fairly close to the cutoff. He's, I think, just over 10 points above the cutoff line, so tonight's not quite as crucial for him, but certainly it would help to have a great race.
Flag is going to be out.
And yes, indeed, first caution of the race. Who is that going to involve? I'm seeing a couple drivers falling through the order. Nolan Gross, most apparently, the 05 truck. Look at the damage to both himself and the 6 of Gary Wright. Also, Matt M. Johnson somewhere in the field. No, he is up to speed, but these two drivers, I'd imagine, not very happy about their current predicaments. Let's go to your first Full Send Racing Network replay of the race and see what went on there to bring out our first caution. So there we go. You see, heading into turn 1, a full barrel roll from the 05 truck of Gross. What a horrific wreck there in turn 1. We got to go back a little ways and see what kind of prompted the start of that altercation. It looked like the 05 might have just got got the back bumper of the 6 truck, unless I'm looking at that from the opposite direction. Let's go to your chopper camera. Always pretty helpful when it comes to trying to decipher what happens in wrecks. So the black truck there on the right side of your screen towards the top of the wall, that is the black 05 of Nolan Gross, and just pretty sharp angle down there into the corner, just clips into the rear left quarter panel, sorry, the rear right quarter panel, I should say, of Gary Wright, and the two tangle up and get together further back in the field quite a bit, so didn't really tangle any other cars in the wreck, but that was a big one, Evan, and I feel like with these wider tracks, we see this quite often, like at Auto Club, these wider tracks can lead to some, slight miscommunications when it comes to trying to figure out where you can put your truck.
Yeah, I feel like this is something that we talked about. I don't know if it was last week, maybe the week before, but the wider tracks, they're great, and you can really, there's so much room to go everywhere. There you can watch the 99 of Brandon Jackson. He's going to head down pit road. But those wider tracks, they're great. They give you so much more room. But the thing about that is people really want to try and take that room. And sometimes these wider tracks cause them to make moves that they necessarily shouldn't make or can't exactly make, don't have room to make, something like that. I don't know if that's the situation that we saw there. I don't know if 05 maybe didn't know that he had someone down there on his inside. Not exactly sure what happened. But, yeah, it looked like he just turned down into the corner a little bit too sharp. And there's a truck down there, and luckily, like you said, that there wasn't too many people behind them that it was gonna really collect. Thankfully, those were the only 2 guys involved.
Well, as we see Brandon Jackson pull out of pit road, and he's going to go back quite a ways in the field because only a couple drivers seem to have come down pit road. Ricky Hart will remain your leader. It's time for the first trivia question of the night. So remember, if you have entered yourself into trivia for our 3rd trivia contest of the season here at the email in the description, you have until the end of this question. So we put about 5 minutes after a question is asked when your answers are legal for the competition, after which point they are no longer valid. So your first question here for trivia: which of the following drivers has not guaranteed themselves a playoff spot going into tonight's race? And I mean that in terms of, have they quite literally locked themselves in guaranteed, or are they just pretty well above the cutoff, but not officially locked in? We showed the graphic a couple minutes ago, so you can't always go back, but let's see if you can remember it off by heart. So which of the 4 drivers has not locked themselves into the playoffs heading into tonight's race? Thus, they still need to race for it. You got Mark Allen Bivens, the A answer. Jason Greenwell is B. Hunter Henry is C. And Matt Crockett is D. Which of those 4 drivers has not locked themselves into tonight's into the playoffs as a result of tonight's race? There are your answers. There is your question. And the first trivia question of the night ensues. And other than that, we also have some other stuff we got to talk about because, again, it was a very quick pre-show and we had a lot to go over. So I also want to make a point about, let's just grab it for you here. We'll do the track preview if we have a moment here because it's early in the race and always better to learn about where we are here at lovely Auto Club Speedway in California, and who better to go to than the guy who usually does this segment, Mr. Evan Wall. So you can take it away with the track preview.
Of course. So this place is Auto Club Speedway. Of course, it opened up in 1997. It is a 2-mile oval. We're running 85 laps here, and that computes out to 170 miles. The turns are banked 14 degrees. Front stretch is banked 11, and the back stretch is banked 3. Last year's winner was Benjamin Lacey, so he's going to be a guy to keep an eye on in that 7 truck. He's running up front right now. I believe right now he's in P3. Quickest time on iRacing, it was set back in 2016, and it was a 38.858 at 185 miles an hour. So definitely a lot quicker than we're running right now, but different trucks, different things back then. And yeah, there's Benjamin Lacey, and next week we will be heading to New Hampshire for the first race of round 1 of the playoffs. That's going to be a lot of fun, but we'll talk about that later. We got other things to get to talking to right now, especially because the lights on that pace car are off.
They are indeed, and now it is time to get going for your second restart of the day, or your first restart, your second start overall, and it'll be led by the same guy who led the last one. Ricky Hart on the top line is the control truck. Cody Welch to his inside again, looking for his first win of the regular season, and boy, we would have been surprised if we were just finding out it would be the 15th round that he would still be trying to do that after a great Season 8 from the 85 truck. But green flag for the 64 of Ricky Hart. He takes the field to green. Trey Ellis in 3rd. Benjamin Lacey, last year's winner, in 4th. Curtis Yancey in 5th. Further back and behind, Eddie Hagee in the 97 truck pulling out of line.
Yeah, big jump by there, and everybody really scattering for positions. There was the big move from that 97, like you said, of Hagee. Right now, he's going to be sitting in 7th position. He jumped down right in front of Mark Allen Bivens and Sean Britt. He's doing a good job to hold his position right now. Fairly single file up front, though, at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment, that is true. Drivers splitting off into the 2 different lines here. That top line here at Auto Club It's kind of a dynamic wall line they added here on iRacing that you can run that wall line quite easily. There's kind of an air buffer almost that makes it a little bit easier to run the high line, conserve some tires, and carry better momentum in the corner. So you'll see guys all day dipping up, dipping down, and really taking any potential line they possibly can. So not a bad idea to go up there early if you're trying to conserve tires. A couple drivers in the pits right now, both drivers that were previously involved in altercations. So up to the high side goes Cody Welch, down to the low side goes race leader Ricky Hart. And a little ways further back, we're seeing Mark Allen Bivens here in the 76 truck moving up a couple spots, and he's a guy who was locked into the playoffs. He's had a stellar year this year, and now he's getting a big push from the 98 of Sean Britt heading down into turn number 2, or turn number 3, I should say.
Yeah, you can see all the battling throughout the field when we go to these big cameras, and unfortunately, even though something that I feel like we need to preface real quick, even though we would love to talk about all the battling all throughout the field, is we're 3 wide right now, the 26 down on the bottom, Sean Britt in the middle, Flagar on top. Even though we would love to talk about the battling all throughout the field, we can only get to so much, so hopefully you can see everything that you want to see. If not, hopefully we can catch it in a replay, but yeah, we are not going to catch everything, but a great battle right here. As again, you're watching the 26 truck down there on the bottom. He's still the one down there on the bottom. That is the 26 of Garrett Hall. I feel like it's been a little while since we've seen him, but it's good to see that Waffle House F-150 back as he's going to slide in right in front of the 99 of Brandon Jackson, who's going to jump down low, try and gain a couple spots. Jackson now on the inside of Flagar and the 3 of Connor Sawyer.
Yeah, that 26 truck of Garrett Hall was a round of 8 playoff driver last season, so a shame he wasn't able to make it out for the full season this year. I'm sure he would have been in the conversation here for a playoff spot, if not for the round of 8 once again. But up front in the lead spots here, it's Ricky Hart still holding off Cody Welch. Neither driver was really all too well involved in last season's race in the Xfinity trucks, but they've both been quite consistent this season in the truck series, and unfortunately Cody Welch has not quite translated into a win, though Ricky Hart has twice. Further back, Garrett Hall dipping below the inside white line. I think things are starting to get a little bit chippy back there, kind of further into the midfield. So 3 wide on entry into turn 3, and Brandon Jackson, there he is, was your former race leader, pitted on, I think, lap number, I think that was 9 when he came in under caution. He's trying to work his way back through right now. Garrett Hall going to slide up in front of him, but Brandon going to sneak by. 3 wide as we cross the line. Brandon back into the top 10.
Yeah, that 99 is definitely a very quick truck. Brandon Jackson's really fast, and he's trying to work his way back up, especially on, I'm assuming, fresh tires since he was just down pit road, but it looked like he maybe got a little bit loose coming out of the corner, something. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but as soon as I was able to look, I just saw the 99 just a little bit sideways, a little bit of a tap from the 76 as well. Great save from Jackson, though, but that caused the 26 to jump down there to the inside, Garrett Hall. But now you can see the 99 of Brandon Jackson. He's got his truck back together, and he's working his way back forward.
Just want to say a quick thank you to everybody in the chat who's given me some well wishes about my whatever ailment I had last week. That is, yes, since recovered, and hopefully I sound much better for you guys, and I certainly feel much better, so thank you, everybody, indeed. But here you go. Eddie Haggy side by side with Benjamin Lacey, just like up front. Ricky Hart and Cody Welch once again taking separate lines there into turns 1 and 2, and that's going to be the story of the race, I think, overall. Which lane is the more ideal one? And I think everybody's going to have different opinions about that matter. Further back, this battle kind of continues here. Garrett Hall side by side with Brandon Jackson once again. Here is the rear view from the 26 truck, and you see just how many guys are kind of single filed out there in that high line trying to save tires. And honestly, Evan, I think in terms of conservation, staying a little ways back further in the field, thinking about the long run, this is a race that'll have at least 3 stops. I think that might be the place to be.
Yeah, honestly, there's some of these guys that are trying to battle up front, and then I'm sure there are some guys that are just trying to hang out at the back, but the problem is, as we've got a contact on the front straightaway, we've got a truck around.
We do. Who is that falling through the order? I think trying to find who it is. A couple drivers dropping through. We don't have a caution. I'm a little confused. Evan, did you happen to notice what truck that might have been?
I could tell that it was a green truck, but I couldn't tell who it was. If I had to guess, it looked something like it was possibly David Leakey, maybe. I am not sure. Jason Greenwell, possibly. No, he's not driving a green truck tonight. I'm not sure who it was.
Yeah, the 84 truck dropped off a couple spots. In fact, a little bit of damage there to the front right quarter panel, but he is still on track. So 84 of David Leakey will chug along. Might have been him involved in that mysterious altercation, but we stay green, so the race will continue. And what a race it's been so far. I mean, overall, fairly caution-free for the first 20 laps here at Auto Club. It's relatively long laps, so the fact that we have 85 of them is going to mean this race goes by a little bit longer than you'd imagine. But, man, overall, it's just Ricky Hart at early was seemingly able to break away on new tires, which was kind of unusual. But I think we're starting to see now, Evan, as he starts to drop back to the pack. And Trey Ellis now, the first winner this season, remember, all the way back at Daytona, he got his first win. He is starting to inch his way back up, and I think possibly Ricky just burned the tires up too soon, and I think a lot of guys are going to learn that lesson over the course of the race.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure Ricky wants to come out here and win. I mean, every driver wants to come out here and win. They all want to come out here and really set themselves up with some momentum for the playoffs, and nobody wants to do that more than these three guys at the front right here. Trey Ellis, he won at Daytona, but he really hasn't had too much success since then. If I were him, I know I definitely want to be showing that, hey, I can win at a track that's not a super speedway. Anytime you win on a super speedway, you kind of have that stigma around you that, like, well, you're just in here because it was a super speedway. Trey Ellis wants to come out here. He wants to prove these guys wrong. He's running in second place right now. He's doing a great job. And Cody Welch, he really wants to prove everybody wrong. Everybody knows that Cody Welch is a good driver, but he doesn't have a win all season. So Cody is really doing everything he can trying to win. But here we're looking at some really great battles all throughout the field.
We are the 100 truck of Matt J. Johnson making his debut tonight. He is putting in the work. He just sent them 3 wide a moment ago, and now he is back to it here. I think that last caution is kind of helping him out because I think he pitted early for fresh rubber, and it's paying off early. That 100 Fanatec truck dropping to the inside. He's about to get Daniel Stein in the 87 there. That's Connor Sawyer in the 3 truck, currently a playoff driver tonight. He's another guy kind of on the cutoff, but so far on points, I think he would be safe. And well, that's going to be interesting to watch, Evan, is because these guys like Garrett Hall, like the 100 truck, who are in this top 15 range, as well as Andrew Zook in the 07 truck, who we should talk about, a member of the Triple Zook tandem. But it's important to mention that, yeah, these guys who aren't running for the playoffs are going to be driving a little bit different than these guys who are. And at a certain point, if you're a playoff driver, you got to remember that, you know, going for the win isn't going to be easy when other guys really don't care about much more than the win. They don't have long-term implications for this race.
Yeah, I feel like it's really interesting looking at some of these drivers and what they're probably thinking. Of course, any driver wants to come out here and they want to win. Any driver wants to win any race that he's in, but really when you look at some of these guys like Ricky Hart Jr., he doesn't need to win. Trey Ellis doesn't need to win. Cody Welch, even though he wants to win, he's locked in. He doesn't need to win either. But then you get some of these other guys, when you look at like the Peter Murphy, who's just barely out of the playoffs. You look at Chris Ferreira, who's barely in the playoffs. These drivers are who the race really matters to, because Ricky Hart Jr., again, he could wreck out right now. It doesn't matter. And most of these drivers, they could wreck out right now, and it's not going to matter with their playoff implications. But everybody wants to win, of course.
Very true, very true. We just want to take a brief moment. We're going to do a brief one-lap memorial for the father, a longtime Bandit Racing League fan, William G. Ulrich, father of series driver Steve Ulrich, who passed away this week. The driver of the 25th lap will be in his memory. Well, the driver who led the start of the 25th lap is no longer leading on lap 26 because we've had our first round of green flag pit stops here. We saw just a moment ago Ricky Hart Jr., Cody Welch, Benjamin Lacey all came down pit road. He is side by side with Trey Ellis as they enter, so going to be a close run as we head off of pit road. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see who on this strategy is going to be the race leader when we come off. You see the 64 truck pulling into his pit box, and that means the new race leader is the 99 truck who pitted there early. You saw into that first caution. He's in a little fun battle here with the 07 of Andrew Zook, and after that, it is smooth sailing, about a second and a half back to Nickerson, and nobody else really behind them after that. Now, side by side as we cross the line, the 07 truck might lead a lap here, so there you go, Andrew Zook. It's remember, the contest we had for Trey Ellis is the first race winner of the season, but I believe that is the first lap led for Andrew Zook, so congratulations to the driver of the 07 truck, and he now becomes your race leader. He's going to put a couple guys a lap down as the green flag pit stoppers from this last set all come out of pit road. It looks like, from what I'm seeing, Ricky Hart did win the race off pit road. He's got Cody Welch right behind him as they leave, so he's going to have a drafting buddy for the time being, provided they are able to team up. But after that, it's Curtis Yancey, Trey Ellis a little ways back, and then Garrett Hall, your top 5 in that alternate strategy.
Yeah, Ricky Hart Jr. right now is going to be in that 21st position with Cody Welch right behind him in 22nd. And the caution flag flies. This is going to change everything.
It is. That is very interesting timing. Who is involved in that? Trey Ellis has gone around on pit road. The 4 truck looking, well, almost looking backwards there, looking perpendicular to the race surface. What happened to the Chesterfield, Virginia native there, who was doing so well? He was top 5 most of that first stint, and now he finds himself looking backwards and brings out the first, or the second yellow flag of the race, first of this second stint. Let's go to the Full Send Racing Network replay, see what happened there. Whoa, just gets real loose. Catches Garrett Hall coming off turn 4. What in the world happened? Hooks the pit barrier, sends it over. Evan, have you ever seen a series of wrecks like that? Holy cow.
That is some of the most damage that I've ever seen to a truck, and that is crazy that the truck ended up driving back to its pit stall. You can see coming through the corner. It looks like he's probably trying to get on the brakes, maybe heading to pit road. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe he just lost it. I'm not sure what his tire situation was at, whether he was on fresh tires or old tires, but yeah, it looks like he just lost it through the corners, just trying to do everything he could to get that 4 truck up and going as quick as he could, and just lost it through the corner, and really in an unfortunate spot right there, right at the pit barrier.
Speaking of pits, a couple drivers who pitted on that first caution coming down for the second one. So Brandon Jackson, Nick Nickerson, Christopher Ferreira, remember, a playoff cutoff driver tonight. It's important that he has a good race, and particularly that he stays ahead of Peter Murphy. As well, Benny Hogan has come down pit road, and he's going to lose a couple spots due to an early pit box. Andrew Zook comes down. I'm going to say Jonas Lazater, based on my understanding of names that look Dutch, but it might just be Jonas Lazater, in which case I sound like an idiot. But other than that, Steve Ulrich as well on pit road. Travis Smith in the 56 truck making his debut tonight as well. So I believe this was the last race in which new drivers were able to enter the series. So going to have a couple new faces tonight. We'll see who sticks around for the playoffs and who is able to make a meaningful impact. Maybe even who becomes the winner of that kind of Trey Ellis sweepstakes, to see if we can get a first-time winner in tonight's race. But besides that, very important before we go much further, to get to your second trivia question of the night. So remember to put your answer. You can put either the letter or the word, doesn't matter. You guys who have been around here quite a while know this, but if you're a new trivia entrant tonight, that is how it works. So your second trivia question of the night: which of these 4 drivers has won a Bandit Racing League race most recently? So it's kind of an interesting one there. Which of those 4 drivers has won a race most recently? So it's kind of an interesting one. I'm not going to give much more details. There are a couple hints I could give, but it's going to be a little bit more interesting if I leave you guys to figure it out yourself. So that's going to be a little bit trickier one for the longer term fans, but there's four pretty big names in that list. So it's going to be up to you guys. You might need to bring out some of your Season 8 knowledge possibly, but hopefully you guys enjoy that one. So your second trivia question of the night, put either the letter or the word answer in the chat there, and you will be in the running to win trivia for tonight and win a Bandit Racing League t-shirt if you get the most correct answers. And remember, if we get a tie, then I always go to who made their answers more quickly on average, who had the most answers first. That way you're not just copying off other people. So we shall see. I love trivia. It's so fun, and hopefully you guys are having a great time tonight for Fan Appreciation Night. Again, we'll talk more about it, and we'll give more shout-outs to you guys. But I do want to very quickly give a quick shout-out on our part, as the lights in the pace truck are off, meaning that Dan Stein and Peter Murphy, remember Murphy tonight, 7 spots below the cutoff tonight. This could be big for him. He's trying to make the playoffs. But I want to give a shout-out to Christopher Ferreira, driver of the number 13 truck, because tonight was his sponsored event originally, and he was kind enough to let us do all these fan appreciation festivities, and a lot of them were his idea. So Christopher Ferreira, thank you so much for letting us do this, and he does so much work in the background as well. You see there on his truck, if we could get a good shot of it, which currently we can't, but he does stuff for us behind the scenes, and in terms of, well, the Bandit Racing League Instagram, as you see there, but he's kind of our social media guy in general, so he does tons of work. If you like what we're doing on Instagram, which follow the series on Instagram, it's just Bandit Racing League Official, but if you like what we're doing there and you like what's on Instagram, that is all his doing. So thank you for sponsoring tonight and for letting us do this, Christopher, and we wish you the best of luck, Mr. Ferreira. I know you're going to be racing hard for that final spot. But the lights in the pace truck are off, and we're coming off of turn number 4.
Actually, the lights on the pace truck are back on. They got switched back on. We'll be going around one more lap. So while we're talking about Chris Ferreira, just be on the lookout for his Instagram account, or the Bandit Racing League's Instagram account. In the next few days, there's going to be something really fun coming up. We've got a bracket for the playoffs, and you will be able to fill in your own bracket. Here, it's up on the screen right now. We're going to call it our bracket challenge. So the way that we're going to do this is that you'll see it on his Facebook. Of course, we don't know for sure who is going to be locked in, so you can't screenshot it yet, but after today's race, sometime in the next few days, Mr. Ferreira is going to put it up on the Bandit Racing League Facebook. You'll be able to screenshot it. You'll be able to enter the text yourself, and possibly whoever gets it close enough is going to have prize. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what it comes for prizes. At the very least, you'll get some bragging rights, but we'll see if it comes to any more than that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. This is kind of an Evan and I centered thing that we kind of tried to put together. So we'll come up with something fun, and we have really no excuse but to do everything we can for you guys, because again, we're so thankful of everything you guys do, and especially Evan and I should personally be thankful. And Evan, very quickly, if you want, we can throw your bracket up here. You can explain some of your picks.
Yeah, that sounds great. So I feel like going into the first round, I don't know. I just who's going to win. Going into the second round, I feel like Brandon Jackson is going to win at Eldora. I don't know why. I'm feeling good about that. Can't say that Nick Nickerson isn't going to win. I'm feeling good about Cody Welch as well. I don't know if he's going to get any wins, but he just keeps finishing up so good. He's got that momentum coming up. And then, you know, our final round, if I'm guessing between Nickerson, Jackson, Hart, and Welch, we've got a super speedway. We've got Charlotte. Anybody could win this race. I think Welch could do it. But here we are getting ready to go green. Again, Daniel Stein and Peter Murphy on the front row. 87 already with a little bit of a jump there of Daniel Stein. 38 of Peter Murphy trying to follow. So it's 64 of Ricky R. Jr. trying to follow as well.
Apologies, that camera angle is for some reason bizarrely loud, but we've come across the line for the start of lap number 32, and right to the front, Ricky Hart wasn't on the front row a moment ago, but he is now. Up to the lead goes the 64 truck, back where he was in that second stint, and most of the first stint for that matter. Whoa, Brandon Jackson, I don't know if that was a block or a dodge, but Nickerson and Jackson went right to the white line, and Nickerson manages to avoid, going to slide in there behind Curtis Yancey. That's Cody Welch in the 85 up top. Daniel Stein on older rubber there in the 87 truck, falling back, did not pit that last time by, so he'll regroup and look to focus on the long term. But up front, Ricky Hart Jr., that 64 truck is looking quick tonight, Evan.
Yeah, great move by Ricky R. Jr. and great race so far by the 64 truck. We're only on lap 33 of 85 right now, but the 64 is sure making it look easy. Right behind him, the 38 going to go really high, maybe get to the wall. I believe he might have had to check up so that he didn't get to the wall, but 3 wide. We've got the 2 of Nick Nickerson down on the very bottom, 4 wide, it looks like now. The 2 of Nick Nickerson is really the first time that we've seen him all night. He's going to be side by side with the 99 of Brandon Jackson. The 7 fell back a little bit of Benjamin Lacey. He probably wanted to get out of that situation a little bit. He saw the 2 of Nick Nickerson, and he saw the 99 of Brandon Jackson, the 51 of Curtis Yancey. Those are some guys that like to stick their nose in places that doesn't always work. 7 of Benjamin Lacey might want to be a little bit safe, not exactly right with them. So we'll have to watch these next couple of laps and see how this plays out. But another driver that we need to keep our eye on is that 13 of Christopher Ferreira. He's sitting right there up front, sitting in front of the 88 of Benny Hogan. And he's one of those guys right on the cutoff. Again, he's got to have a good night tonight.
Further back in the field, there's a, whoa, somebody's in the wall. I think it's the 100 truck. Where did he go? Yeah, in the wall goes Matt Johnson there. Further back, no, we got a wreck. Turn 3, third wreck of the race. The 100 truck goes around. The 07 of Andrew Zook just barely misses him. Whoa, catches somebody else. Brandon Gears further back is involved. The 73 truck has gone around. We're seeing Mason Flagar caught up somewhere in that mess. Alan Castle as well. Garrett Hall as well. The 26 truck is in the infield. Third wreck of the night. And that one kicked off, I think, on the backstretch all the way down to turn 3.
Yeah, and that is, as you saw, that 100 truck got into the 76 with Mason Flagar. That is a really important reason why you need to hold your brake when you're wrecking. Not much that Flagar can do there.
Whoa. Yeah, that was a big wreck. Okay, so let's go back a little bit further. The thing I saw initially was coming off of turn number 2. I saw the 100 truck of Matt Johnson making his debut tonight. Was running up in the top 10 a little bit earlier. Off the outside wall, clipped it a little bit. I think the 32 truck of Terry Condis tried to avoid him, that yellow truck. So the 100 bounced off. The 26 trying to get out of his way, got into Harkins, who got into the 100. And yeah, Andrew Zook just barely able to avoid that. Same with Nolan Gross. And then finally, the luck ran out for the 100 truck, and Mason Flagar barrels into the side of him and kind of a rude awakening there in Matt Johnson's debut tonight in the 100. And same with David Lakey as well. Considerable damage to that number 84 truck. And I want to check the playoff standings because I do not remember where he's sitting, but I believe Lakey is locked in, but we'll keep an eye on it.
If he's not locked in, he's definitely really close. I know he's one of those guys that is up there a good ways. Lucky dog is going to be Jason Greenwell. Jason Greenwell in 27th position. He will now get back on the lead lap. Everyone from 28th on back now is at least one lap down.
Well, I think it's probably a good time here while we are under our third caution of the day to go to our third trivia question. So remember, you guys know how this works. We're going to put the trivia question up. You have 5 minutes to put either the letter for your answer or the answer in words itself. Just a quick reminder, I don't mean to spoil the result of that last trivia question, but only the answers on the question itself are the available answers for that question. So if I ask, like, which of these drivers has won most recently, it's referencing of the drivers there on the list. I know we had some Nick Nickersons there in the last answer, and yes, we didn't get a chance to do a race recap because, gosh, there was a lot of stuff to go over. We might be able to fit it in a caution if we have some time because we do have it prepared. But yeah, Nick did win last week's race at Phoenix, or no, was it? I'm already forgetting. It was Phoenix. Yeah, so he won his hometown race there at Phoenix Raceway, and yes, he was the most recent winner, but wasn't the most recent on the graphic. So there you go, just a little bit of help there. And speaking of Nick Nickerson, for your third trivia question, following the series leader, Nick Nickerson, who leads in series laps led with, I believe, somewhere in the ballpark of 580, who is second in laps led this season? There are your four options: Curtis Yancey, Brett Guzik, Brandon Jackson, or Ricky Hart Jr. Which of those four series regulars is second in laps led this season? So I'm going to give you a bit of a hint, which should probably speak to, well, just how amazing he's been this year, and the fact that unless tonight goes seriously wrong for the two truck, he would be tonight's regular season champion. It says something that I believe he has about 4 times as many laps led as the driver in second. And, you know, just in case we don't talk to him tonight, Evan, what is there to say about likely going to be our regular season champion tonight?
I feel like you really can't say enough about the talent that the driver of the two of Nick Nickerson has. He tends to be up front. He had a slow start here tonight, but already he's back up in the top 5, and I feel like he'll probably finish in the top 5. You know, most of the races where he doesn't finish up front, whether that be first or in the top 3, it's usually because somehow he got caught up in some wreck that probably wasn't his fault. I've never seen a driver that can do it at every single racetrack and every single style of racing. So yeah, I feel like we definitely have to keep an eye on him because he's a guy that could come out here from 5th and he could win it, but no matter what, I have a feeling he is definitely going to be your regular season points champion. I haven't looked at the results. I don't know how close it is, but I definitely know he is at the top of the board right now.
Yeah, I don't believe he's a full race ahead, but he's darn close. I think Kevin Foster's still second in the overall points, so he is in the conversation, but it would take quite a drive from the 8 truck, and it would take some adversity for the 2. But the pace truck peels off onto pit road. We are getting ready to go green for the third restart of tonight's event. Hart on the inside, Welch on the outside, Yancey and Jackson in row 2. Green flag here at Auto Club for the Fan Appreciation 85. And our 4th green flag of the day. The 64 truck has been quick all day. Can anybody crack the code, find a way to get ahead?
Side by side, it's going to be the 51 and the 85, Yancey and Welch, as they head onto the back straightaway. Ricky Hart Jr. is going to easily have your lead, but he's going to have some challengers right now. To the bottom, to the top, trying to figure out which lane he needs to block. Down to the bottom as he heads down into turn 3. He's going to be blocking the 51 of Curtis Yancey. Yancey going to come up a little bit in front of the 85 of Cody Welch. Cody Welch back down to the bottom, but there's the 99 of Brandon Jackson down there.
Yeah, Brandon trying to get in the mix a little bit. We are all over the racetrack. Whoa, up to the high line goes Welch. Kind of a last-minute maneuver there to set up for turn number 1. Here you see on board with Nick Nickerson. He's going to go to the top. 2 guys go low. That's Hart and Yancey. Up in the middle there is Jackson. Up top is Welch, and Nickerson follows a very similar line. Nick's always been somebody who's not afraid to run the high line. Same with Cody Welch. I think Brandon historically has more so relied on that bottom groove, which can often work, and just as long as you can set up your tire strategy for it. Down to the bottom once again goes Brandon. So looks like the 84, or the 99 truck, I should say, trying to make some progress early. And, you know, Brandon last season at this very same racetrack in the Xfinity Series led a large portion of the race, kind of had the dominant race Ricky Hart is having so far. And I think it was going to work for him had we not had a couple unexpected late cautions in that race. So you got to wonder, maybe the experience coming in handy at a track that Brandon doesn't like, and maybe going to plan for the leading a majority of the race strategy rather than just sitting in the back like I talked about earlier.
And now a little bit of an advantage here for the 64 truck of Ricky Hart Jr., but the 99 is going to have a little bit of help. It's the 2 of Nick Nickerson who's going to be working with him. The 85 of Cody Welch has the 51 of Curtis Yancey working with him, and side by side, the 99 and the 85, the 2 and the 51, with the 64 out in front of both of them.
Brandon Jackson going to slot in front of Cody Welch off the exit of turn number 4, so the 85 truck still in the top 3. Again, still looking for that first win of the regular season, and boy, would he like to get it at the end, I'd imagine. And again, he would count for tonight's contest that Trey Ellis hosted for a first-time winner in this season of the series, so keep an eye on him. But to the inside goes Jackson, to the outside goes Hart. Welch going to go with him. Yancey up to the top side. Curtis Yancey, a guy who's had a great season so far. He's definitely going to be somebody to watch in the playoffs, but he gets on the outside wall coming off of turn number 2. Curtis Yancey off the pace. That's going to give Jason Romey the 5th spot, a guy we really should talk about because the 08 truck is really on a roll in this current stint, but the 51 losing spots quick. Christopher Ferreira is going to get him in a moment if he's able to capitalize on that momentum shift, and boy, does the 13 need it, like we talked about before, doing exactly what he needs to tonight in the playoff cutoff in 9th out of 42 guys.
Yeah, the 64 now jumping really down low to the bottom side, the 99, and they're wrecking on the front straightaway. Caution is going to be out again.
Got to see here who's involved. Yeah, I am seeing a couple names coming up. Travis Smith has gone off track in the 56 truck. He does appear to be back on, so for the time being, we're okay. Andrew Zook as well, the 07 truck. He's the guy we really got to watch for. Significantly off the pace. Damage to the 07, it would appear, and at least the steering is a little bit off camber. Not a ton of cosmetic damage, but I don't know, Evan, if he caught a little bit much more than that. But yeah, just looks like a couple maybe solo or 2-car incident on the front stretch. So there is the start. There's the catalyst. The 07 truck gets turned off the front nose of the 98 of Sean Britt. And then involved in the aftermath was Travis Smith, who was trying to avoid and make his way out of the vicinity. Let's see again what happened here. So there's the 98 in the blue and yellow entry of Sean Britt. Here's the 07 of Andrew Zook trying to slide up in front. I think trying to stay on the draft of the 87 truck in front of him. Yeah, just kind of crept up in front of him. Unfortunately, I think that's got to be more on the fault of the guy trying to move up than the guy trying to move down. I think, I think for the most part, Sean Britt kind of held his line, and overall, I've been really happy with the 98 truck and his time in the series so far. It's good to see that he doesn't appear to have too much cosmetic damage, and actually, mostly the same with Andrew Zook. You can see the hood's a little bit dug out of that 07 truck, but for the most part, should be able to take a quick repair and keep going.
Yeah, that is the good thing about having quick repairs. Of course, you don't want to have to take it on lap 43 of 85 where getting close to halfway, you know, but we're right around halfway, but you would like to save it for a little bit later just in case you need it, but that is the good thing. It is there, and now we've got our next question in the trivia contest. Every driver to score a pole this season also has a win in Season 9. Is that true or false? Every driver that has a pole has a win. Is that true or false? Comment down below.
Kind of a fun one there, a little bit of a thinker, one you really got to look back at. So there's a couple races this season that were quite a ways ago. I remember we talked a little bit earlier about Trey Ellis at Daytona was your first winner. It's been a long time, so there have been a lot of races this season. So is that a true fact or is that false? Would I put a fact that is cool into the trivia just to mention it, or would I make something up that sounds true that isn't? That's the question. And boy, I have fun with these trivia questions, so who knows? Basically, how well do you know me, viewer? How well do you think I would make these questions? But realistically, you know what to do. Put the letter or the in words full name answer in the chat. And there you go, locked in. We're already seeing a little bit of variety. I see a true and a false, so we will keep an eye on it as it goes. False. And there you go, a couple more names there. So trivia is fun. Hopefully you guys are having a fun time with it. We are now halfway through, so it's going to be another 8-question trivia night to win your Bandit t-shirt as a result. And there are 4 questions in, so make sure they're right. Make sure you know what you're talking about. And with all that being said, it's been a fun race so far. I mean, Ricky Hart has led a large portion of it so far. I'm going to go check the laps led in just a moment. I'm also going to put up on the timing tower just so we can get a bit of variety in our information, the best lap for everybody on track. And it is a largely draft-based track, but it does actually tell you a little bit how well drivers are able to use runs when they get them, how well they're able to utilize the bottom line to get some passes made if they're able to run that quick. And you actually see as far as I can tell, Peter Murphy in the 38 truck has the quickest lap of the race with a 41.54 second lap. So it doesn't seem like a super important thing at a track that is largely based on the run you're able to get on the driver in front, kind of similar to a super speedway. But, you know, Evan, as we saw last year with a late caution where it was a 2-lap run to the finish on a green-white checker that won Benjamin Lacey the race, being able to make passes late in the race, utilizing your opportunities and your slipstreams is pretty crucial. So I'd say Peter Murphy, it's not a bad stat to have, the fastest lap of the race. No, we have appear to have lost connection for the moment from Evan Wall, so we'll see if he comes back in just a moment. For the time being, the lights on the pace track appear to be off, it would seem, based on everybody packing up into 2 lines. It is correct, so the lights are off. We're going to go back to green next time by. We have passed the halfway point here in tonight's Fan Appreciation 85 at Auto Club Speedway, and overall, I hope you guys are having a really awesome time. I know it's a pretty jam-packed night in terms of all the stuff you can win, all the fun opportunities we have for you, but I'd say that's a better problem to have than any other alternative. So hopefully you guys are having a fun time tonight, and really just generally speaking, I'll delve into this more late, but we are just so thankful, both Evan and I and every driver in the series, for every single person that watches every week. You know, on behalf of drivers, like we saw in the intro, I made sure to put up some messages there from the drivers. I had a couple drivers that were able to send messages in, name some people they'd like to specifically thank, so hopefully you guys saw that there at the beginning. But overall, we are just so thankful for everything you guys do, and we want to give back to you guys. So tonight's about you guys. We're keeping an eye on it in the chat. We're having fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that kind of alternate perspective in the fan profile. But now we're getting ready to go. 4th restart of the night. It is Hart and Nickerson, the last 2 champions of the Bandit Racing League in season 7 and 8, are going to take us to green here. Green flag, Hart on the top side, Nickerson on the bottom. Then it's Ferreira and Ramos, 2 drivers close to the playoff cutoff. This will be a fun little stint. Here we go, green flag, and we head down into turn number 1 with Ramos peeking underneath.
Ramos is already being really aggressive. Ricky Hart Jr. got the jump that he wanted to, like he has every other restart pretty much. Nick Nickerson doing a great job to follow in behind him. And yeah, Ramos being really aggressive. He's going to slot in 3rd position right now with Anthony Caetano right behind him. Or Chris Ferrara right behind him, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. One driver I do want to mention who's now got the previous race winner last season in Season 8 is inside and is about to make the pass on him. Benjamin Lacey heads down below. Connor Zook, who is up 30 spots in tonight's race. He started all the way back there, and I believe, well, trying to do the math here, 35th position. And he is now up to 6th, just lost out a spot to Benjamin Lacey that he's trying to get back, actually, as we come across the line. So the 55 truck, the Ford in the blue and white, is making moves. Down to the inside goes somebody, and guess who? Mr. Action Jackson sends it 3 wide underneath Matt Crockett in that great-looking 10 truck. To the top side, Peter Murphy trying to hold on. Remember, this race probably more important for Peter than anybody else. 7 spots below the cutoff tonight, unless a driver who is in the playoffs on points gets the win and punches their ticket that way.
Yeah, information from Mr. Brett Guzik in our comment section that guys will be pitting around lap 65 to 68. So not too much longer before we see a couple more pit stops here. It is now lap 48 of 85 here at Auto Club.
We have a new race leader. It's a guy that, well, we are very familiar with seeing. Right as I say that, he gets passed on the outside by Ricky Hart, but Nick Nickerson is in the fight for first. Side by side go the 64 and the 2. Here comes the 27 truck. He might put his throw his hat in the ring here. Down to the inside. Actually taps the back bumper of the 2 truck. You saw his bumper kind of cave in there as he made the move. So Michael Ramos, who is in pretty comfortably on points at the moment, sitting all the way up there in 3rd. He's going for the win, and honestly, Evan, I commend him for it, because, you know, tonight is the night. You never know what's going to happen in points, and, you know, you never want to find yourself further back in the field than you need to be if and when you get wrecked. So if I'm the 27 truck and I'm this close to these two leaders who have led pretty dominantly all race, I'd say go for it. The 27 truck is doing just that.
Yeah, I don't blame him for going for the win at all. You know, there's no reason not to. Anybody wants to get this win to get as much momentum as they can going into the playoffs. But you know what? A guy that I'm really looking at is Christopher Ferrara in that 13 truck. He's hanging out right there behind these leaders. He's put himself in a position to do it. And what better way to make sure you're in the playoffs? You don't want to point your way in. You want to lock yourself in with a win. And he's really trying to do that right there.
3 wide off of turn number 3. It's Lacey Ramos. Ramos hooks him.
There's him. The 7 is going to be into the wall.
Lacey around off the front nose of Ramos, who goes around 2. Right as we talk about it, Evan. Take the risk there. Go for the win. 2 guys do. And they're looking the other way as a result. So the 27 involved, the 7 involved. I think I saw, who was that? was that Brandon Gears as well is involved again. Nolan Gross, Mark Allen Bivens, some of the younger hotshot drivers this season have gone around. The 05 truck still going. Is Mark Allen Bivens in the same situation? Mark Allen, who's had such a good year this year. No, that 76 truck is, well, it has seen better days. Mark Allen Bivens had such a great season so far. Probably been the overall success story. If we had an award for most improved, it would be him. But he just got caught up in the 5th wreck of the day. And that means we're going to go 33 laps to go when we come back from caution. But let's go to your full center racing replay and just see what happened there. I think we kind of got the idea where I think it was Ramos clipped the edge of Lacey coming off turn number 3. I think everybody kind of slid up, and here we go. Let's see what happened. So this is actually behind the start of that wreck. So we're going to go back a little bit, make sure we have the proper camera. You already see the 27 truck in the grass by the time we go to this view. But here you go. So coming off of turn number 3. So I'm going to go to the chopper camera just to make sure we get the proper view of what happened. So there in the middle in the white and purple truck is the 7 of Benjamin Lacey. They get squeezed real tight in the 27 truck. Really nowhere to go. And I think part of the problem was Nick Nickerson there on the inside. I'm sure he would have liked to go quite a bit lower. Whoa, somebody took quite a ride there on the inside of the line. Was that Connor Sawyer or Curtis Yancey? I think it was Curtis Yancey there, spun across the infield, and he was quick earlier. So shame to see that he has gotten involved in that. But yeah, no, that was just a case, I think, of Nick wasn't able to hold the truck as far to the inside as he would have liked and just slid up far enough that those two guys on the outside really ran each other out of room.
Yeah, a very, very rare thing you'll see. The 2 truck of Nick Nickerson made a mistake, pinched those 2 guys up top, and it ended up really causing an accident here. Thankfully for him, he wasn't necessarily involved. But yeah, that's going to be big damage for a couple of these trucks, including that 27 that we were really commending for doing so well. 51 as well, spinning through the infield.
Yeah, very quickly, I just want to see the view from that 51 truck, because I don't think, he didn't actually ever make contact with anything. He just kind of dove to the infield to avoid, and here's the view from the 51 truck. Curtis Yancey. There's Jason Romy sliding in front of him. Manages to avoid it, and I mean, he spins through victory lane there on the infield and makes significant contact with the outside walls, or the inside wall, I should say, so there is going to be damage to that 51 truck. But you know, Evan, if I think there's one thing there's people in our series are really great at, it's avoiding wrecks at high speed. We see so many saves in this series all the time, and it's kind of a fun quirk that I've noticed. So at the end of the day, no matter how many wrecks we have in a race, and I think thus far for how competitive the racing's been, 5 isn't that bad at all. But man, we have some great save artists in this series, don't we?
We really do, and you know that is something that it feels strange to point out that that's something that a group of guys does really well, but you're right. These guys really are good at saves, and I don't exactly know why. I don't exactly know why they would be so good at it. But yeah, that is one thing that I've noticed as well when it comes to guys wrecking, and especially quickly wrecking. These guys have really good reaction time. They really know where to go, and they are really good at getting out of trouble.
Yeah, good racer's instincts, I would say, and it's something that speaks to a greater skill set, greater experience in oval racing that I know many of our drivers have. But here you go, 5th trivia question of the day. We're getting towards the end here, folks. These are the important ones you got to watch out for. It's kind of a fun question, an America-centric question. So as a Canadian myself, I have not quite as much of a context for this. I actually couldn't name what state a couple of tracks are in, but hopefully you guys can. What American state has played host to the most races in Season 9 of the Bandit Racing League? Is it A, Alabama, B, California, C, Florida, or D, Nevada? And the question is, Evan, as a loyal Alabaman yourself, are you the type that would just put Alabama there as the answer to the question, whether you thought it was the right answer or not?
I would not, because I do know the answer to this question.
Ooh. But the question is, do the people at home know? So there you go.
That is the question.
I'll rep you one more time because I don't have a stake in American football. Go Alabama. There you go. I'll give it to you. And we are green. Peter Murphy in the 38 truck takes us to green. A little ways further back, it's the Jackson and Welch connection again. They've been kind of swarming around each other all race. Eddie Hagee in the 4th spot, and they are well clear of everybody else heading down to turn number 1.
Yeah, a good little battle here at the front, though, between the 99 of Brandon Jackson. Now he's looking to the inside of the 85 of Cody Welch. They're going to be side by side, the 99 and the 85, trying to catch Peter Murphy up in front of him.
Here we go, side by side. Jackson down to the inside on Welch once again. Heading down to turn number 3. It is Murphy, the control truck, but he's about to get split down the middle, put in a sandwich. The 38 truck just gets steamrolled by the 99 and the 85. just two guys, I think, on a fresher set of tires and just a class of their own. Now the 85 truck going to get to the back bumper of Jackson. You got to think of it. There's got to be some communication going on the radio, because the 99 and the 85 later on in this race have just been inseparable, but Eddie Haggie's still involved in the picture.
Yeah, Brandon Jackson doing a great job to get himself up there to the front now with a nice little push from the 85. Now, looking from the view of the 97 of Eddie Haggie, a great view so you can really see these guys up in front of you.
Down to the inside, though, goes Cody Welch, gives up on pushing the 99 truck, and honestly, doesn't surprise me. You know, the 85 is going to try to lead laps as best as he can. Down to the inside he goes, so Cody Welch should get to the point unless the 99's got the better run off the corner. Who will lead at the line? I believe it's going to be Brandon Jackson. Should get it back, although it was darn close. So the 85 down to the inside. Can he hold it through turn number 1? The 99 back to the outside, and somebody new has gotten into this equation. Jason Greenwell, a guy who has punched his ticket to the playoffs. He's officially in on points, and now he can just have some fun. The 83 truck looking for his first win of the season.
Yeah, really, really good to see the 83 of Jason Greenwell up front. He's punched his ticket, and he wants to do the same thing as all these other guys. He really wants to try and get some momentum going into the playoffs. But look at this 3 wide, a guy that needs the win more than anybody, the 38 of Peter Murphy, working that bottom line on the inside of the 99 of Brandon Jackson, trying to catch up to the 85 of Cody Welch, side by side for second place right now.
Yeah, back to the point goes the race leader, Cody Welch, back to the front. So the 85 truck again, looking for the first win of the regular season. We talked about it for a long time. Could tonight be the night? But he's got to fight off both Peter Murphy and Brandon Jackson, who've been darn quick on this run. The Ricky Hart, who is I think has still led the most laps in tonight's event so far. He is in a tight battle here with Jason Greenwell, who should get the pass down on the outside. And important to mention, that 83 truck up 33 spots from qualifying. So whatever he's doing, it's working for him. He's made his way through almost the entire field.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, and he's definitely picking his way through this field as now the battle is heating up. The 64 truck of Ricky Hart Jr. is going to be jumping down to the inside, making it 3 wide. The 99 and the 38 on his outside now.
Here we go, yeah, 3 wide heading down to turn number 1. On the outside, that's Murphy. Middle is Jackson. Bottom is Hart. Greenwell in the back. Who is that? The pink truck of Nick Nickerson coming out of nowhere.
Going to be sideways. The 83 with a tap from the back and a great save from the 99.
What a save! Holy cow, I missed the bottom of that frame as he went to go around, but he safes it again. Brandon Jackson, what did I just talk about a moment ago? Great job, and he keeps it going. Might have some scuffed tires in that 99 truck, but he stays going. Holy cow. Now it's Jackson not getting involved in the picture. That 00, a great looking OxyClean truck he's got. Now he's side by side with Eddie Haggie. Daniel Stein going to capitalize on that. The 87 truck now up into 6th, but Nick Nickerson was the guy who was what to talk about there, as we got to keep an eye further back. Moving through the field like a crazed bandicoot there on new tires. The 2 truck up 10 spots, I think, in about 3 laps. And a little ways further back, Jackson still trying to get his footing once again. Seeing a very important question, actually, we got just a moment ago from Brett in the chat. Where is Christopher Ferreira in reference to Peter Murphy, his championship rival? And that is a very good question. Andrew Zook, somewhere on track, appears to have crashed. I'm seeing in my telemetry. Yeah, the 07 truck in the infield. He's off the exit of turn number 2. He seems to have gone around. No caution because it's a solo incident. So the 07 of Andrew Zook trying to regain his footing and get back up to speed, back up to the front. Cody Welch side by side with Ricky Hart once again. The 2 guys who really from the start of this event have seemed the most dominant trucks. You could maybe throw Brandon Jackson in that list, but there he goes. The 64 back to the lead. Got to wonder if that's just a fuel-saving measure for Cody Welch, because he gave that up pretty easy.
Yeah, but the answer to that question in the comments, Christopher Ferreira, that 13 truck, coming into this race, he had a 9-point lead on the 38 of Peter Murphy. A 9-point lead. So not too much, but he does have a little bit of a buffer zone to try and keep himself in the playoffs. But remember, if somebody that isn't in the playoffs right now wins, say if Cody Welch comes out and wins this race here tonight, that is immediately going to get both of those guys in the playoffs, because it's going to bump down another spot. It's going to take somebody that's locked in on points and make them locked in on a win. That's going to open up another spot in the points. So if Cody Welch comes out and wins, then the 38 of Peter Murphy will automatically be locked in.
Yeah, it's a very good point, Evan. That's something that those guys have to keep in mind. And I'm sure if you're a guy like Peter Murphy, if it comes down to it at the end of the race, it might almost help Cody Welch if he can't win himself, just to get somebody into the front to open up a spot for him. And I mean, Cody Welch is a guy I'm certain is going to be going to be willing to fight for that win if he's got a dance partner. But 25 laps to go this time by, so we are coming towards the end of tonight's Fan Appreciation 85. Just looking back a little ways here, saw Daniel Stein pull it a line in an attempt to pass Jason Greenwell for the final top 5 spot. Jason Greenwell has kind of an underrated number of top 5s this season. I think he might even have 3. He's had a great season so far, well deserving of his playoff spot. But Christopher Ferreira, we just talked about, is behind Peter Murphy. He can see him up there. We can look at the cockpit view, and he can see the 38 in his windshield. But yeah, great point, Evan. He's currently only 6 spots ahead of Peter Murphy, so he's definitely in the conversation. But if you're Christopher, I am not letting that Good Brothers number 38 truck out of my sight.
Yeah, Christopher wants to be as close as he can to Peter Murphy. He knows that little bit of a gap, and he knows that he has the little bit of an advantage. So he's going to do everything he can to stay in right on his rear bumper. He doesn't have to finish in front of him. He just has to finish real close to him.
Meanwhile, as we watch this great battle, might go 3 wide as Ferreira might get his opportunity to get ahead of the 38 truck. Peter Murphy off the pace, just did not have a great run there through turns 1 and 2. We are 3 wide. Down to the bottom goes Ferreira. You know they're going to fight for this spot. Up on the top side, Jason Greenwell trying to make his way to the podium for the first time this year as well. This is the battle for 4th as the top 3 take off up front. What a battle this is. Down to the bottom goes the 13. And just like that, Peter Murphy losing track position and losing a couple spots in the process. Now going to be about 12 spots back of the playoff cutoff unless a new driver wins.
Yeah, but that's the thing about this track right now. There's 23 laps to go. We're less than 10 laps away from our pit sequence, our green flag pit stops for some of these drivers. And so quickly, positions can change here. You can lose a couple of positions one lap and gain them back the next lap, gain even more back the next lap. So that's definitely going to be something to watch. Everybody, as they get pushed forward, pushed backwards, but it's going to be really important once this pit cycle starts here in a couple laps.
Fun little battle happening here. I just want to highlight Anthony Caetano and Mark Allen Bivens duking it out as well with, that is Connor Zook in the final spot in the top 10 in the 55 truck. They are battling it out a little bit for that final spot in the top 10. A couple drivers coming down pit road this time, including a big name in this race, Eddie Hagge, who I believe does have a confirmed playoff spot, unless he is very close. But he's had a great season as well so far. He is coming down at the same time as Jonathan Platt for their final stop of the day. Remember the tip we got from Brett Guzik in the chat there, saying it'd be about laps 65 to 68 we saw pit stops, and that is right about on track with where we are now, lap 63. So within the next couple laps, Evan, you got to imagine we're going to see some green flag pit stops. And the question is, like last season in the Xfinity Series, are we going to see a late race caution that throws all this strategy into chaos?
And you know what? You better be watching these comments. Plenty of people have already been eliminated from the swag giveaway. 6 people remain, 6 fans remain in the giveaway, and only 3 will win.
Speaking of some fun festivities here, as we see these 2 trucks up front continuing to dominate for the most part. Even Cody Welch has kind of fallen out of this battle for the lead between the last 2 champions of the series. We'll keep an eye on it, but this is your 6th trivia question of the night, so we are getting towards the end once again. You want to win a Bandit t-shirt and you're in the trivia contest. This is the one you want to watch. Now, here is the question, and I'm going to make a point of asking it because it would be kind of unfair and kind of a cheap hint to have Evan read them, as it is something he says at the end of each broadcast. But which of the following iconic words does Evan end each broadcast by saying? Is it A, absolutely, B, unconditionally, C, positively, or D, undoubtedly? Which of those 4 words does Evan say at the end of every broadcast? That is your question. Kind of a fun one, kind of something outside of racing and more broadcast centric. But we have a caution, 6th of the day, right as green flag pit stops were starting. This changes everything.
And you know what? Bonus points if you can answer the reason that I say that specific word. I don't know if I can give away bonus points, but if I can, bonus points. If not, then I'll just be really impressed if you can say the reason why I say that.
We will find a fun reason. We'll find a fun way to give bonus points if indeed somebody can name the reason he says that. But Kel Zook is the driver who has brought out the 6th caution of the day. The 44 truck appeared to have gone around just a moment ago. So let's jump back to your full center racing replay and see what went wrong. Whoa, okay, that would be it. 44 and 51 into each other. Curtis Yancey, who was already kind of out of it there after that earlier wreck, wasn't quite able to recover as far up as he would have hoped at this point in the race, still currently in 20th. Those 2 guys got tangled together, and much better run from the 44 than Cale Zook, so I got to wonder maybe something wrong with that 51 truck. Maybe it's just off the pace, but you see just what a run he got off the top side. I don't know if the 51 truck was prepared to give him the room.
Yeah, I heard over the radio the 51 sounded fairly angry, but to me it looked like the 44 just had the position on the outside. The 51 drifted up.
Yeah, I'm going to say that is not definitively the 44 truck's fault enough that, that I would be all too mad. So, if at all. So, yeah, just high-speed racing. Again, and honestly, if I'm going to see a caution in this series, those are the ones I like to see. Just two guys battling hard, minor miscommunication, minor slip-up, and that's all it was. Just two guys going for the same piece of real estate. But here we go. For the final time today, green flag pit stops. It is hard onto pit road. Let's watch as everybody comes down here. See Greenwell pulling into his early pit box after starting further back in the field. We're just going to watch the race off pit road here. The first driver on track who did not pit. Interestingly enough, last year's runner-up. He was second last year's race and second in our overall championship this season. Kevin Foster remains on track and should lead a lap. So, interesting strategy here, but here we go. The race off pit road. Here it is. Let's see who's able to win it. Ricky Hart into that front pit box. This is going to be crucial here. If somebody can maybe take two tires or save on some aspect of the pit stop, this could be huge. So, Hart is got two tires down. I think he's got, two up. So, he has taken four tires here. That 64 truck is going to be at maximum grip. So off 64, 85, 2. Hogan beats Ferreira. Then it's Condis, Connor Zook. Jason Greenwell loses a couple spots. Bivens, Stein, Zook, Caetano. Bunch of guys coming off now. And what a fun little battle that was. But important to mention, Ricky Hart and Cody Welch were your two beneficiaries. And Nick Nickerson, I believe, just lost a spot there in the pits. Something that, if you watched last season at Road America, don't mean to rub salt in that wound for Nick, but something that is not foreign to the two truck. Speaking of Nick Nickerson, I just want to make a brief mention of, obviously, we love our champion here. Nick Nickerson is such a great guy. He's, I don't know, what do you say? If there was one guy I was going to, if I was going to trust a kid to, if I had to, have somebody watch a kid, it would be Nick Nickerson. The guy is such a nice guy, so responsible, such a fun guy to lead the series. But at the end of last week's broadcast, he did come in and state that the truck he was running previously, that the Big Red Propane Black, Blue, and Red truck he runs most weeks, he said it was undefeated because he's got 5 wins on the season. I believe 4 of them came with that truck. So he made the statement that he was undefeated in that particular livery, and we have since discovered that is not the case. He did not win at Michigan in that livery, and thus, as he runs the two truck tonight, one of my favorite schemes he runs. I just felt that important to mention. So there you go. Got to bring Nick down a little bit of a peg, but he still has 5 wins this season. Nobody else has more than 2. And he's in 4th. Don't count him out for a 6th win tonight. It's just what he does. But his teammate, Kevin Foster, up front in that alternate livery, in that orange number 8 Big Red Propane truck, should be leading the race coming to the next green flag as the pace trucks, or the pace cars' lights are off. So, going to be important to watch.
Yeah, this ought to be a good restart here. The 8 of Kevin Foster. It's going to be right in front of the 2 of Nick Nickerson, those matching paint schemes. Ricky Hart Jr. going to be starting on that inside row. We've seen Ricky jump out so many times, but he's got 2 really good teammates there right to his outside. That's going to be definitely tough with the 8 of Foster and the 2 of Nickerson front to back.
Just doing a bit of a run through here in the top 10, just so you can see everybody involved in the battle, essentially for the win at this point in the race. Only 16 to go when we go green here. Mark Allen Bivens back into the top 10 after some earlier incidents, and making his debut tonight, Travis Smith in the 56. He's sitting there in 12th. Keep an eye, could potentially have a first-time winner in his very first race. We have seen it happen before. Joshua McQuiggan, who's had a great race overall so far, fellow Canadian, want to mention him as well, sitting in the 17th spot a couple ways back as well. Jackson Knock has had a great race tonight in the 15th spot. But here we go, green flag, 6th restart of the day. It is the 8, the 64, the 2, the 85, and Christopher Ferreira tonight, fighting for his life in the playoffs, trying to get the win here at Auto Club.
About to go 3 wide right here for just a second, but the 64 of Ricky Hart Jr. is really going to get the lead coming out of the corner side by side. It's the 85 of Cody Welch, the 2 of Nick Nickerson, the 8 of Kevin Foster is directly behind that battle, keeping himself in position.
Yeah, I think Kevin Foster on older tires just wasn't able to stay with that lead pack, it would seem. Just didn't quite have the pace. He's still kind of dropping back. Benny Hogan in the 88 truck going to go underneath him. He got a podium either last week or 2 weeks ago. Benny Hogan, he's had a good season for himself here, and he's a playoff driver, I believe, for a reason. So, actually, that might not be the case. He might not have run enough races. Regardless, he could make his way in with a win. Don't forget, you don't need to run all that many races if you can win tonight's race at Auto Club. So Benny Hogan this could be big. But up front, you may have noticed the 2 truck has completely jumped the 64 and the 85. The 2 guys that have been so dominant tonight. We saw the 64 take 4 tires, so it can't be a tires problem. Now's the question, I think. If you're going to be that dominant, Nick just kind of blew by those guys that last lap. You got to wonder if there's strategy going on between Cody Welsh and Ricky Hart.
Yeah, there definitely might be some sort of strategy. We got 15 laps to go here at Auto Club Speedway.
Kind of an update here in terms of the playoff overall. Both drivers that are really fighting for those playoff spots, that last cutoff, are in very different spots. Christopher Ferreira in the 13 truck, remember, him and Peter Murphy are the 2 guys kind of fighting for that last spot. Unless a first-time winner this season wins today at Auto Club. Christopher Ferreira is sitting up there in 5th. Peter Murphy has dropped back to 20th. I believe he took an alternate pit strategy and went all that way back in the 38 truck. So he's 15 spots back. He either needs a caution or he needs a miracle. And right now, Christopher Ferreira looking comfortable up there in terms of making the playoffs there in the 13.
Yeah, Chris has definitely put himself in a really good position sitting right now in the top 5, in 5th position, actually. So if he could finish the night out with the top 5, that'll be exactly what he needs to make the playoffs. But, you know, that's not what he's looking for. He's definitely looking for a win here tonight. He's still got time to try and get it.
He does. Let's go on board again with the 13 truck of Christopher Ferreira. Really like these on-board cams today. Somebody on the infield you see coming back onto the track, if I know my paint schemes correctly. That is the 07 of Andrew Zook, so returning to the track. But the Fall River, Massachusetts native of Christopher Ferreira, right behind the 88 of Benny Hogan, who again is not playoff eligible on points. He is nowhere near the cutoff because he missed a couple races, but he's had some podiums this season, so we know he's quick. And if he gets a win tonight, that spot is his, and it also opens up another spot for Chris. So gotta wonder, could potentially be a bit of a deal being made between these trucks. Could work together, but a caution comes out, and it's the 99 of Brandon Jackson. Was quick early, qualified well, but he said he wasn't feeling good today, and maybe that's finally paying off for him.
Yeah, you know what? He said that he wasn't feeling good about this track, and here is why. The 99 in the infield. Let's head to the replay, see if we can see what happened. Did he turn himself? I think the 99 might have turned himself.
Well, wait a minute. Let's get a better replay. Oh no, this started earlier. Okay, so on the outside. Yeah, definitely not. On the outside, Kevin Foster. That's Jackson Knock in the yeah. Jackson Knock just kind of got a little bit loose there. The truck was, that 00 was bouncing around a little bit on him. Slid into Jackson. Actually, a nice save overall. Look at the Tokyo Drift style skid mark there. Had it not been for that little lip in the grass, I think he might have actually returned to the track. But no, unfortunately, we love Brandon, but he turned himself is iconic, and it'll have to wait for one more day. That was not on the 99 truck. I want to get a brief replay of that, because that drift there is, if we slow that down a little bit, it'll be something nice to use for a later compilation. So you see they're making contact with the 00 is Brandon Jackson. And then here we go. Let's get a good view of this, because this was pretty slick, I gotta say. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you ever want a fun camera shot there, see the backfiring in that 99 truck, and actually get a good moment to zoom up close on that number 99 Codemasters truck, designed by our very own Evan Walls. So a beautiful paint scheme. We'll take a moment to look at it, and almost saved it, but again, you see that little jump he took off the inside grass, and that was all it took to unsettle the truck, enough that he spun around.
Yeah, he did everything that he could to save it, tried as hard as he could, but unfortunately there, the 99 is going to be pulling into his pit stall here with 11 laps to go at Auto Club. Never want to be on pit road with 11 to go.
No, generally.
Well, not usually.
No, not typically, unless you got the hot hand or you got a particular strategy in mind. But generally speaking, yeah, if you're most of these drivers up front, you'd be happy to have taken your pit stops already. So we do see, though, a couple drivers on pit road. Curtis Yancey, in 23rd currently, is on pit road, as well as Bill Harkins, our very own, who just announced the winner of the T-shirt draw. So I will go find those winners very quickly to congratulate you guys. So it is World Finals vids. So whatever your mystery identity is there. Kristen Volrath, I should say, and Kalen Kuhnel, oh, that's an exclamation point, Kalen Kuhn. So there you go, cool names there, everybody. We got some variety there in the chat today, and all things considered, there has just been so much conversation here in the chat today, so much engagement. We appreciate it so much, and this is why we're appreciating the fans today. It's the Fan Appreciation 85. This is your second to last trivia question. It's been a fun race so far, and we are far from done. 10 laps is going to be plenty of action, I'm sure, here tonight. But here is your 7th trivia question. Kind of a fun one. which of the following car numbers is not currently used in the Bandit Racing League? So, if anybody currently in the series, and I can confirm by the eye test that this is still the case, which of these car numbers is not currently run by a driver? So, this is any driver. It doesn't have to be run tonight, but any driver that has run a significant number of races this season. And as a hint, the other three numbers are pretty frequent. So, there is one definitively that has not been used, and I know for a fact it hasn't. So, A, 88, B, 15, C, 95, or D, 6. Which of those four numbers is not currently used in the Bandit Racing League? I see what you said, Evan. I think comparatively to some of these other trivia contests, this is the third one we've done this season. We did the first two for the Rogue Energy triple header. They are not easy tonight. I got to say, that one might be one that might throw a couple people off. Not something I think a lot of people typically pay a ton of attention to, but we're seeing some variety in answers. So I sincerely hope that if anybody guesses a number that is not used by a driver, or that is used by a driver, that that driver does not feel offended. Just means, if anything, we got to give them some more attention going forward. But up front row, Nickerson, Welch, top two in the championship last year. And honestly, Evan, coming into this year, I would have thought it would be the same case in the regular season this year, but Cody Welch still winless. Nick Nickerson's got 5. What better adversaries to battle it out for potentially the 85's first win? Benny Hogan still trying to make his way to the playoffs. A win would do so. 9 laps to go here at Auto Club. Green flag. Nickerson the control truck, and he is off. Christopher Ferreira is well in the conversation. Connor Zook checking up a little bit there. But we are off. The 2 truck cleared by a car length heading to turn number 1. Here we go, off of turn number 2. Still the 2 truck leads by about a half a car length. Cody Welch slotting in behind, running out of time. Everybody avoiding the outside wall. We got a massive wreck. That's Joshua McQuiggan's involved. Multiple cars. Who else? Jackson Knock has gone around. Jonathan Platt's in it. Yancey's in it. Caution number 8 comes in quick succession. And now it's about time to say it. It's becoming kind of our new catchphrase, Evan. But cautions breed cautions in this series.
Cautions definitely do breed cautions. There is no better catchphrase for what we have seen, honestly, this whole season. We'll have some great green flag racing, just like we've seen tonight. All of a sudden, we get a couple of cautions. We get the intensity ramped up towards the end of the race, and cautions breed cautions. Starting the replay here a little bit into the accident already happened. So much happening. But we're going to see if we can figure it out watching the 43 of Jonathan Platt. Looks like some contact there between the 38 and the 29.
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't surprise me that the 38 truck, if he did make a little bit of contact with him, would have been getting pretty aggressive. Remember, Peter trying to make his way into the playoffs tonight and would ideally like to not have to rely on a first-time winner winning tonight. So let's keep an eye on the 38 of Peter Murphy, who does now sit in 14th, so he's moved up a couple spots. He just got into him, and I'm not going to suggest anything, because I'm not somebody who typically suggests controversies, and if anything, I think he just got a little bit of a bobble. I don't think it was anything major, but that was kind of a weird jump. Kind of just jumped up to the top line, got a little bit loose, and wow. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, Joshua McQuiggan almost saved it. The 29 truck came very close, but no dice. Big hit there into one of those other trucks. We see the I think the 100 truck of, who is that? He's making his debut tonight. Matt Johnson, who was already kind of out of it after a great earlier portion of the race, was also involved, and Curtis Yancey as well. The race was already tough for him, but I think now it's officially a write-off. You see live on pit road that's Jackson Knock, I should say, who actually overall had a really good race to this point. The 00 should be proud. I think this is the best run I've seen from the 00 all season, so he's somebody to keep an eye on going forward. And again, one of the best looking trucks in the series. I'm a really big fan of that entry there. But also involved, Curtis Yancey is currently on pit road. He's got to be out of quick repairs. He was involved in a wreck earlier in the race anyway, so the 51 truck, unfortunately not the night he would have wanted to end his regular season off with, but he's got to win. He's in your playoffs. You'll see him back next week battling for a championship. And Jonathan Platt as well in the 43 truck is also parked there. And he's had some great runs this season, but I think just as a result of missed a couple races and has had his fair share of bad luck, unfortunately that is going to write off his chances to run for a championship this season. Well, as we continue to pace here for the 8th caution of the day. Yeah, there's Jackson in the chat. Hey, great race, Jackson. Hopefully you had a good time tonight, and hopefully we see you back next week in that 00 truck, because he was up in the top 10 a considerable portion of tonight's event. So shame to see. But it was good to see. All things considered, I just want to say, well, we have a brief moment. It is the Fan Appreciation 85, and we have a moment before we have to go back to green. But the engagement tonight has been awesome. This is some of the best viewership we've seen in the series in a very long time. Everybody's having so much fun there in the chat. I see everybody interacting, and that's what I like to see. You know, this series and these broadcasts are really meant to be about forming a community with not just the drivers. We have a community in the background. I know. I'm honestly too busy, but I wish I got to spend more time with the guys through the week. But everybody hangs out. Everybody's very close on track. But you guys watching in the chat, you are kind of your own community, and you're very important to us, you know, Evan and I, and you're very important to the drivers, and you guys have deserved fan appreciation all season. Hopefully you've been enjoying the stuff we've done, like trivia and stuff like that, but tonight is about you guys. So to each and every one of you, to everybody who got a shout out pre-race, everybody who didn't, I want to personally thank you all for making what I do possible, what Evan does possible, and without you guys, these broadcasts wouldn't happen, because, you know, as much as I'm sure the drivers love going back to watch and after the race and seeing the different perspectives on what happened, you guys are the reason we do this, and we're glad that we can present to you live racing, make these great talented drivers that deserve to have what they do seen. To have it seen by you guys means the world to us. So we forever appreciate you on behalf of Evan and I, Bill Harkins, Matt Crockett, Christopher Ferreira, everybody that puts this lead together, all the admins, all the drivers. Sincerely thank you, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the race. We're going to be 5 to go this time by. Defending series champion, defending series runner-up, a guy trying to make it into the playoffs. The top 3 are going to be fighting hard, and Ricky Hart, who's been so dominant tonight, is the final in the front 2 rows.
Lights are off on the iRacing pace car as it ducks down onto pit road. It's going to be the 85 and the 2 as the green flag flies. The 2 of Nick Nickerson with the jump immediately. The 85 trying to gain momentum down there on the inside lane. Inside lane is going to have the 64 of Ricciardo Jr. in the second row. Outside lane is going to have the 88 truck of Benny Hogan. It's going to be the 2 leading down into turn 1.
5 laps to go, only 10 miles left tonight in the 85. The Fan Appreciation 85. It is the 2, the 85, the 64. Benny Hogan sitting there in 4th, drops back a spot, but still in the picture. You see that kind of sandpaper looking 88 truck down to the bottom. Actually, it unsettles the 64 truck. He's getting aggressive, and why not go for it? Benny Hogan, Christopher Ferreira just trying to stay up front. Honestly, if I'm the 13 truck and I see the 88 making moves like that, I might stay out of the way a little bit, try to conserve my points and punch my ticket to the playoffs. But back up front, Nickerson, Welch, side by side heading to turn number 1. 4 laps to go. Only about probably just over 3 minutes to go if we go green to the end. Not much time left. They are side by side through 1 and 2. It's Nickerson on the top, Welch on the bottom. Is the 64 going to give some help to somebody? And remember, if the 85 wins tonight, another spot opens up and Peter Murphy might make his way into the playoffs.
Yeah, so many different things that could happen in the points battle. It looks like the 85 of Cody Welch has a little bit of help from the 64 of Ricciardo Jr. The 2 with Nick Nickerson is going to be up there on the outside all by himself. Is the 88. Looks like he might help the 64 of Ricciardo Jr. as well. So much moving and shaking. Things changing on every single straightaway. Right now, side by side, the 85 of Cody Welch on the inside. Nick Nickerson up on the outside.
3 laps to go. Up front, still side by side. The 85 on the bottom. The 88 as close as he's been to the back bumper of those front trucks. All run. Here we go, the 88 truck, keep an eye on him. We're going to go to the chopper camera just so we can see when somebody makes that pivotal move. The 88 still on the top side, gets into the back bumper, the 85 a little bit. We're going to go 2 to go this time by. Up front, Welch, he's just not able to clear him. It looks like Nick is just on that top line, getting the better runs off the corner. He's been dominant. I think the 85's either going to have to slide him up, take that run off of him, maybe even door him. That's not very Cody Welch-like, but we might see it if he really wants that first win of the season. Somebody's in the grass. That's the 99 once again. Will we see a caution bring out a green-white checkered? He's off the racing surface, so maybe not. He's parked it on the infield. Still no caution. 2 to go, and it's Welch and Nickerson still side by side. Hogan and Hart right behind.
Yeah, great battling here up front. No caution there.
There goes Hart.
2 laps to go. 3 wide. The 64 to the bottom. The 85 in the middle. The 2 of Nick Nickerson.
Whoa!
On top. Almost 4 wide now. The 85 trying to push his nose in.
Here we go. White flag this time by. Will we make it back?
Contact into the wall. The 85 into the wall.
Somebody's loose. Ferreira's in the grass. White flag goes. We're going to finish the lap. No more cautions. Ferreira off the pace but stays on track. So he will stay in it. Benny Hogan, who got loose off of turn number 3 or 4, he is out of it. No championship for the 88. We're going to come to the line. The 2. Could he get number 6 on the season? Or will Cody Welch finally figure it out? He's trying to slipstream. They're trying to break the draft as the 2 truck. 2 more corners to go. About half a mile at Auto Club. The 85 up to the high side. Can Ricky Hart take one more shot at it? Down to the bottom. Nick Nickerson. He's got the run off the corner. What a season. Following up the championship last year. It's not done, but it's going to be close. He follows the championship season up with 6 wins in the regular season. It was darn close at the line, but Nick Nickerson wins again at Auto Club. He is going to be hard to beat in the playoffs. The champ is back, and oh boy, has it been a season for him.
Super close finish there at the line. I thought Cody Welch was going to be able to do it, but in the end, he just barely missed out on the win here at Auto Club, and it's Nick Nickerson yet again from Phoenix, Arizona, bringing the California trophy home.
Yeah, I genuinely thought I was going to look really stupid there for a minute, because I saw Cody Welch coming off of turn 4. He got a massive run. We're going to have to go back and watch that final lap, or that last portion of the final lap again, but yeah, I thought for sure, because Cody was on that lower line coming off of turn number 4. He didn't really get back in the slipstream at all. He just hugged the bottom line, and he almost got him, separated by less than 1/10 of a second at the line there. What a finish we just saw, but there you go, Nick. Do your burnouts. Congratulations. He's done it again, and we have an even better graphic for the number 2 truck, as he's done it in style. He is your regular season champion. Congratulations to Nick Nickerson. What a guy. What a season. What is there left to say, Evan? Seriously, what can we say about this guy?
I'm sorry, what was that you said, Marshall?
Oh, just what is there left to say about Nick, man? Does it again. 6th win of the season.
Yeah, I really don't know what else you can say about him. Just, well, you saw it last season and even the season before that. Like you said, so many wins on the season. Such a great driver is there. You can see him, you know, doing a little dance, making his truck do a little dance, waggling the front wheels back and forth. Not sure if that's a word, but just such a great driver here, and unbelievable how he's able to get so many wins on so many different tracks. You know, starting this race, I really thought that maybe this was going to be Cody Welch's chance. He's so good at this track. Ricky Hart Jr. was doing great as well. I thought there was a really good chance that Ricky might be able to eke out the win here tonight, but in the end wasn't able to do it. Nick Nickerson just showing off how good of a driver he is.
And now there's some fun shenanigans going on here. We see Cody Welch dancing around the 64 truck. Those are your 3 podium finishers tonight. Connor Zook comes home in 4th. Great run for the 55 truck. You see there his teammate Kevin Foster in the background of Nick Nickerson. He's doing his own burnouts. I think he's officially finished 2nd in the overall championship this season, so not a bad way to end it off for him. Though Cody Welch, I think, would have come close if not been the actual runner-up in the championship. But Nick Nickerson, we got to go to him. We're doing these interviews right after the race, and that way we can get the true excitement of your race winner, Nick Nickerson. And Nick he's such a hardworking guy, and that was not an easy race. I know he's won all these races, and I'm sure many of you will be thinking, well, how exciting can it still be for a guy who's won it this many times? But I promise you it is. I don't actually see his camera at the moment there, so we might be sans Nick on screen for just a moment. But there's the 2 truck. Let's get him in the booth. Your race winner tonight for the 6th time this season, Nick Nickerson. Hey, Nick, hope I'm not catching you at a bad time, but it is Marshall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Got you, man.
Nick.
Sorry. I don't know what to say.
Nicholas, it's fan appreciation night, and you do it again. 6th win on the season. Just talk us through that finish there, because coming to the line, we thought there was going to be a caution, surprisingly, when Brandon went around in the final lap, but there wasn't. You were trying to break the draft on the backstretch. Did you think it was a foregone conclusion? Do you think Cody had the slipstream, and how were you able to hold him off?
Well, that before the last restart, the second before last restart, he was a freight train coming up to me in 3 and 4. So I was like, man, there's no way I'm gonna be able to hold him off on this potentially last restart. But something happened. I can't remember what. Where we were just I was able to kind of stick up there. I think he was able to get a nose down on me, and we raced side by side a little bit. And honestly, I can't remember what happened after that. That was just so much fun. I know he bumped me I was fully expecting that. Trying to move me up the track, it just wasn't enough. But man, I just can't say how much fun that was racing with Cody and Ricky. And I kind of feel bad taking it because I know how much he wants it, but that's just gonna make his first win this season that much sweeter.
Oh, without a doubt, and yeah, he's going to be fighting for a championship the rest of the season going forward. And as we saw last year, he is a worthy adversary in that regard. So I know you're not going to have an easy run there, but
yeah. And I'll say, like, I kind of wanted to give one to him, but like that, it's almost insulting to do that.
Yeah,
because I would never want anybody to give me a win. So I'm just it's going to happen, man. Like he's just putting on too much pressure in the front every single week. Yeah, man.
Yeah, to anybody in the chat, I know we got a lot of Cody Welch fans. I just want to say personally, I know Cody would want it to be that way. Nobody wants to be gifted a win, especially not that first win of the season. Like, Nick, you know as well as anybody who's watched all these races that Cody has tried so hard for that all season. So to have it end like that, to have that finally be the one he gets, it's not fair. And I respect both of you guys for not having it end that way. And he came darn close there at the line, less than a tenth of a second. So it was not a problem at all. So that actually brings me right to my next question, which I thought that last time by, that last run off of turn 4, I thought you had it for sure, because we'd seen all race that top line was getting such better runs. You know, that bottom line would work short term. Brandon was utilizing it a whole bunch. He'd get a good run into the corner. You'd get about a half car length ahead, but then that top line would always come back, and you were kind of riding that top line a majority of the race. So in a multi-group racetrack like Auto Club, what was your long-term strategy over those 85 laps?
Yeah, I mean, I was just like kind of more concerned with tire conservation and just kind of figuring things out and moving up the fully. I got a little bit of a fuel strategy to get me up a little. I think it was like 4th place or 5th place, and then I got back on strategy with all the faster guys up front. And you know, at a certain point, I just started feeling like the high line was just not viable. It saved your tires, but like it was, you know, a half a second slower every corner, like the running the wall. And I was able to find like a really good way to hit 3 and 4 that I almost feel like it was cheating. Like it was like almost like a slingshot. And I was able to nail that a few times. Yeah, it felt like the track changed a lot on that second half to where the bottom was just like the way to be. I think I only got back up in front of Cody after we went side by side because Benny kind of gave me a little bit of a push. I can't remember. I have to watch a replay. Like it was all a blur, man.
Yeah, no, same with us. It was a lot to cover, and I know in the truck it goes by a whole lot quicker. So what a finish. Again, overall, it was a great race to watch, and you know, to see you win number 6 on the season at a certain point, just keep racking them up, and if somebody can finally vanquish you in the playoffs, it'll make it that much more special. But speaking of which, the playoffs start next week. Now you've done it. You got your 6 wins in the regular season. I believe you tie now your total from all of last season. So it didn't take you long, Nick, and we're right back to 6 wins. But for the playoffs, you know, it's a whole different ballgame. This new format here, win and you're into the next round. So many drivers in that first round of the playoffs. Points reset every time. What is it that's scaring you? What is it that's going to make this playoff run any tougher than it appears to not be at all for you so far?
Well, I guess I wouldn't say anything's more tough. It's just I'm not really too fond of the final from a perspective of somebody who's trying to win a championship. I don't like how the final round is Talladega then Charlotte, because Talladega is a dice roll, and that can set potentially somebody farther back in points. It can either be me or it could be somebody like Cody or Ricky, and then there's just no way they'll be able to make that up in Charlotte. And I don't know, it just doesn't feel like if I were to win the championship because I finished like 10th at Charlotte, but I finished, you know, maybe 10th at Talladega, but like Cody finished last because he got crashed out, it wouldn't feel like I won a championship at that point. But that's really the only thing I'm worried about is just getting a good finish at Talladega so I have a chance to win a championship at Charlotte.
Yeah, I know in the past, historically, of all your disciplines, the super speedways haven't been your most favorable. But for the very best, I don't think it is for anybody. They're tough to win, especially with turnouts like we had tonight, almost 43 guys, almost the full field. So it's I'm sure you're gonna have plenty of competition by the end of the season. But provided you can get through that, you were great last season at Charlotte. So I have the utmost faith in you. So overall tonight, Nick, it's fan appreciation night. So if you want to make it a little bit special, shout out some people that watch you every week, but. You know the deal better than anybody in this series. Any shout outs, anything you want to talk about, now's your time, man.
Yeah, man. I just got to thank everybody that participates. Same old spiel, I guess. And man, everybody that's watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I know Cody's family is probably cursed my name, but it's all right. We had a lot of fun. I hope he had fun too. I know he really wanted to win, but man, I got to thank Big Red Propane for all they do with GFR Racing. I hear there's a good chance that they're going to be on board next year too, which is going to be awesome. I got to thank TechNet and Perfect Shine Auto Spa for having a little leg in Big Red GFR Racing. And man, I got to thank you, Marshall and Evan, for your broadcast. It just keeps getting better and better. I don't know when is it going to quit? When have you maxed out your potential?
Well, thank you very much, man. And it's good time to peak heading into the playoffs. We got some big stuff prepared. We got the bracket challenge, which is going to be exciting. So I think it's going to be a fun playoff. And we always say it. We're always joking, but Nick, if you want to give somebody else a win for once, just it would make life easier on all of us. And
I got to be using my lookup sometime.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Maybe I should think about it that way. Also, we did mention the thing about the other paint scheme, but there you go. You can start a new streak with the paint scheme. Probably my preferred of the two. So
yeah, the Hoff paints are special. Those are only for the we ran in Homestead. Kevin and I want to run them again one more time before we put them in the closet. So I figured it was a good time at California. It's kind of like Homestead a little bit, right?
Yeah,
sunshine. Ocean.
Yeah, I see the theme. Beaches occur in both places. So
yeah,
awesome. Well, thank you, Nick, so much, man. Congrats on another one here at Auto Club. And now the real test starts. You got 9 races to go back to back as champion, and it all starts next week. So best of luck with that. Have a great rest of your week, man. We'll see you next week in New Hampshire.
Appreciate it, man. I'm gonna get the points done. I'll have them over to you as soon as possible.
Perfect. Thank you. That way we can give the official update. I believe Christopher Ferreira has officially punched his way in, but we'll get the official numbers in just a moment.
Awesome, man. Talk to you later.
Perfect. Thank you, Nick. There you go. Your race winner, Nick Nickerson, does it again. I have literally now run out of things to say. If you're new to the series, I hope we got a lot of new fans tonight. A lot of people that came out for the first time to watch the race, and it was a really fun one. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the heck out of it. And I know Evan and I certainly did. But if you're new to the series, you're gonna see that a lot. You're gonna see it a lot. That Nick is he's experienced. He's well composed. He's a tough guy to beat, and it's exactly what makes beating him in a championship or in an individual race so deserved. And again, I know you Cody Welsh fans are real mature people. You want Cody to do it the right way. But yeah, I will always defend giving the win up to somebody else. Just isn't racing. It's not sportsmanship. It's not any better for Cody. And I have a lot of respect for Cody as a guy that I know wants to win the right way and has the capability to. So it's about proving something to himself, not just about the one on his stat sheet. So it'll happen in the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you, I've never been more certain about something than the fact that Cody Welch will get a win in the playoffs. But what better timing? Because now it is time to go to your second place finisher tonight. By less than 1/10 of a second at Auto Club, he comes in second. And he's down in the broadcast booth with Evan Wall.
Hey, Cody, this is Evan Wall up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
It's great to talk to you. You had a great finish tonight. You were really close to notching that first win of the season. It's crazy that you still haven't got one yet. But I know that you love tracks like this. So kind of just talk us through your race, but also what it is about tracks like this that just gets you so good at them.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I just had a good race, stayed up front, good qualifying. It's just I'm kind of over these second places to Nick, to be honest with you. But yeah, I love the 2-mile tracks like this. Michigan obviously is my home track and probably one of my favorites. And Auto Club's a little bit flatter, but races a lot of the same. And just wanted to keep it out front and take a shot at the win. Just coming up too short once again.
Well, hey, you know what? You definitely did a good job. You were really close. Like I said, you almost had it. The fans can see on the broadcast how close it really was. But you know what the good thing is? You still have yourself locked into the playoffs and quite easily. And coming up in the first round of the playoffs, we've got a couple interesting tracks: New Hampshire, Dover, Pocono, and even the road course of Watkins Glen. How are you feeling about places like that? What's your strategy kind of going into the playoffs?
Yeah, first round's going to be, pretty good for me. I won New Hampshire, and I think I won Dover in the last season. So definitely tracks that I look forward to, and then I feel I'm real competitive at. And, same thing going forward, just trying to knock out these top fives. Points are going to reset, but that'll be the last time they reset. So if I can just keep it up front, run consistent, and not make any huge mistakes, I think I'll be in good shape for the Final Four.
Well, that definitely sounds like a plan. Honestly, everybody's going to be filling out brackets here. We're going to have brackets that fans can fill out so that they can guess who's going to win. I'm one of the only ones who has filled out my bracket yet because I made the bracket challenge, and I have you as the champion. I'm just feeling it. I feel like you're going to come away with the championship. Something's telling me that. I don't know. It's just a hunch, but you know what? Now is the time of the broadcast where you take it away. Shout out whoever you want to shout out. Talk about whoever you want to talk about. This is your time to take away the broadcast.
Well, first off, I appreciate you picking me for the championship. It seems like I always come on stronger at the second half of the season, so we'll see how it goes. Definitely want to thank the fans. I know it's Fan Appreciation Night. We appreciate all you guys for coming to watch. We try to do the best we can to put on a great show for y'all, and I hope you guys love the racing. Friends, family, all for watching the race, and everyone at the broadcast, you and Marshall, for putting the broadcast on, and Bill for putting this all together. We really appreciate it as drivers.
Hey, well, we're both glad to do it, and it was great to talk to you, and I know we'll be talking to you again before the season's over, probably a couple more times.
If Nick is in front of me on the last lap ever again, I'm not lifting. That's just all there is to it. So tune in for that. We'll see how it goes.
Hey, that sounds like a great, entertaining broadcast. For all the people still watching, just keep that in mind for your reason to watch the broadcast from here on out. Thank you, Cody. Have a good night.
You too. Thanks.
Yeah, what more appealing advertisement is there for the future than that statement? Cody's a guy that is always very respectful. We saw it a couple weeks back, and it was Texas, I think, where had the opportunity to spin Nick for the win. Thought better of it. Did the respectful thing, did the sportsmanlike thing, and didn't go for it. So yeah, you could kind of just hear it in Cody's voice. He's always such a composed guy, but you can hear it. It's starting to get to him now, and that's as a broadcaster, as a viewer of the series, it's one of the last things you want to see. But I know that guy is going to be persevering. He's going to be pushing his way through in the future. So I give him absolute best of luck in his future endeavors in this series, and I know Cody will be back in a couple weeks time, back in the broadcast booth, maybe even as the first interview of the night. So we will see. It is only a couple weeks from now 1 week from now that we start the playoffs. So we will begin next week. Very quickly, before we go into our final interview with the podium finishers tonight with Ricky Hart Jr., just an important note of those of you still here, and thank you all for sticking around tonight. I appreciate it so very much. I didn't mention it, and I should have. The final trivia question will happen after this last interview here. So in just a moment, we'll give you the final trivia question. You'll find out who won the 4th Bandit shirt tonight. We already had the giveaway draw for all of you commenters, and I know there was a lot of people in the comments, but for the slightly smaller group of you that is participating in trivia, you'll have your final question in just a couple moments, and you'll figure out who won that t-shirt. And hopefully I might be able to go through and do the results for trivia myself. So actually, here's what we're going to do. We're going to switch it up a little bit. We're not going to do what I just said. So I'm going to ask if it's okay with you, Evan. We might have you do the final interview of the race. But first, I'm going to put up the final trivia question. So we'll put up the final trivia question. You have through all of the final interview to give your answer. And that way, hopefully, by the end of this interview, I'll have tabulated the results. And I can tell you live tonight, rather than the usual, who wins at trivia. So very quickly, before we go forward, and there's the lovely 64 truck of Ricky Hart, who we'll get to in just a moment. Your final trivia question. And this is one that I've talked about a couple times, so it might be fresh in your mind. It might be a fun one. It's on paper pretty tough, but how many races are in the Bandit Racing League Season 9 playoffs that start next week? Is it A5, B7, C9, or D10? That is your final question of the night, your 8th question for trivia. I've seen a lot of variety in answers, so I bet we do have a definitive winner tonight, and the winner tonight will go away with, similar to the other 3 winners, their own Bandit Racing League t-shirt. So there you go. That is the question, your final trivia question. Put your answer in the chat, either the number or the letter. But before we are able to give you your final result, we're going to go to your final interview of the night, and we'll have Evan down in the booth with our very own Ricky Hart Jr. finishing in 3rd tonight at Auto Club.
Hey, Ricky, this is Evan up in the booth. You got a copy?
Gotcha. What's up, guys?
Not too much. You were close to having a win. You dominated all race. So just my first question is going to be what did you do to go into this race and just what made you be able to spend so much time out in front of the pack?
I practiced. Nah, I got some practice last night for a little bit, and while in practice, we're all in there. I see a lot of guys running the high line, and they were staying there. They were staying on the high line, just kept going around, going around, going around. Well, I started practicing with the bottom line, and on the first lap, you can't run the bottom line. You're just so loose. You're wrecking loose, and it's near impossible. You just got to stay out of the gas so much. I found out on the second lap and everything after that, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2 mainly, I would go to the bottom, lift just a little bit, and take it back up to the top. 3 and 4, it'd work for about the first 10 laps, and then you could move high till the end of the race. Then it started to change up a little bit, but I practiced a little qualifying, got that front spot, and then from there it raced like Talladega and Daytona a little bit, in that you're just trying to pull like both guys, like you're trying to keep the guys behind you too wide so that you can kind of pull away from them. So I was just playing games the whole time where, if I had somebody up top in the back that was running a little bit behind, I'd stay up top. If I had somebody on the bottom that started to lag, I'd go to the bottom a little bit and just try to pull them, and then keep going. So, I mean, there were a couple guys that came to the front, and, when it started to get spread out, it became a lot harder to do that. Cody was one of those guys. He was, I don't even know how many laps. I felt like he was right on my bumper. And and just right there the whole time. But I mean, that was it, trying to take people's lines away. Basically the Joey Logano, TJ Majors starter pack right there. Just block. Don't let them get a run. Don't let them get ahead of you, and then just keep going.
Well, hey, you definitely did a great job right there up until the very end. But you know what the thing is? This race really doesn't even matter for you because you're already locked into the playoffs. And the playoffs is what everybody's looking forward to. It's what we've been talking about the whole race, really. Coming up in round 1, we've got New Hampshire, Dover. I know you're a big fan of that track. Watkins
I can't
Glen,
wait for Dover.
and Pocono. So talk about those tracks in round 1. Talk about your strategy heading into round 1 and how you feel about those tracks.
Yeah, I am excited. I mean, I live in the Northeast. We got a little Northeast swing going right there for the first round. I think I'm going to be strong. I can't wait for round 1. I can't wait to go to Dover. I've been asking for Dover to get on the schedule for the last 4 seasons, and it's finally here. I'm so excited. I really hope I don't make an ass of myself and wreck the car. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely some contenders. Cody is up there week after week. Nick, obviously, there's so many guys. I raced with so many different names tonight, and I'm just so many people going up to the front. So I think it's going to be tough. What do we got? 17, 18 guys going into the playoffs?
You know what? I am not sure. Marshall will be able to tell us here in a few minutes. But you know what? For my next question, this kind of ties in real well. Who are you going to who do you expect the final 4 drivers competing for that championship is going to be?
Me. Me, Nick. I think Cody's going to be there, and I don't even know who to put in 4th. There's so many other. Oh my God, I saw so many names tonight. Right up there in the front, Michael, Ramos, Benny Hogan. Like, it could be anybody. I really don't know. And then even, what is that, round 3? That's gonna be a crapshoot. That's gonna be wild. I can't wait to get to the end of this season and see how this plays out.
Hey, I hear you. It's going to be a lot of fun. But you know what? It's time to go ahead and wrap the broadcast up so you know the deal. This is your time to take away the broadcast, take away the stream, say whatever you want to say. It is your turn to talk.
Yeah, thank you to all the fans, everybody that came on, commented, watching every week in, week out. I got a lot of people out there that come in and watch, and I know we got a lot of fans. To you guys, Full Send, to Evan Wall, everybody that's making this happen every week, all the drivers out there. You know, I know emotions run high, but at the end of the day, I don't think I'd want to race with anybody else. As a matter of fact, I'm not racing anymore. I don't race with anybody else. I just race with these guys. I mean, you're all family at this point. Materia Tattoo, as always, my family for letting me do this, and yeah, just everybody out there watching, supporting, and enjoying the show, having a lot of fun.
Well, hey, thank you for being here, Ricky. We appreciate getting to have you on the broadcast. Appreciate being able to watch your talents here at Auto Club, and I'm sure we'll have you in the broadcast booth here again before the end of the season. Matter of fact, I know we will. I think I said the same thing with Cody, but I know we'll have both of y'all back in the broadcast booth before the end of the season. But you have a great night, and we'll probably see you next week.
You too. One last thing before I go. I was rooting for Cody there at the end. I wanted him to win that one. I wanted him to spin Nick or myself. I didn't care. I hope that man wins next week.
I think just about everybody was rooting for him.
I'm like, come on. I tried giving that last little bump. I'm like, let's go. We're going to get there. And then start-finish line just ran up on us quick.
Yeah, definitely did. But he's still got plenty of chances. You've still got plenty of chances. And, you know, I would bet money that he'll be in victory lane in the next round.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think he's getting there. Definitely. He's up front week after week. But you guys have a good night, and we'll see. Playoffs are starting. I'm excited. I hope everybody watching is excited, and let's go.
Yes, sir. I'll see you.
See you.
And there you go, your final interview of the night as he gets out of his chair after a very long night of racing. Ricky Hart Jr., you're not your winner, but your podium finisher here at Auto Club for that might be his 5th podium of the season. He's had a really consistent year. One of those guys that, as he just talked about, I think is a fair conclusion to come to as a guy that can definitely make his way into the Final Four here, and probably the most competitive season the Bandit Racing League has ever seen. I know I'm a little bit biased because I've only been in this series for a couple of years now, but man, what a run overall, what a race. And Evan, as we come to the end here, we now have your final results for not only trivia. I did get the math done in time, so we can announce an official trivia winner momentarily, but we also have your official results for the regular season. We know who's in the playoffs, and I was going to go do a final interview with the closest finisher in the playoff cutoff, and unfortunately that was not unfortunately for him, that was Connor Sawyer was the cutoff driver, but unfortunately he is not in the session any longer. Same with the driver above is there, but I'd imagine they're probably busy with their given duties. So here we go. Let's give you the run through of your final results for the playoffs, and then we'll give you your trivia winner. So just very quickly, I'm gonna put up the original bracket that we had at the very beginning of the race that says who is in on points, because I believe every driver who was on that graphic is still in the playoffs, and that is correct. So everybody on that graphic is in the playoffs. The margins by which they made it in have changed. But that is your group. And you can also add at the very bottom of that graphic somebody I don't believe is on it. No, he is. Connor Sawyer is on it. So Connor Sawyer becomes the final cutoff driver. Christopher Ferreira actually jumped both him and Michael Ramos there in that last segment. Really, the only interesting piece of information that isn't on that graphic is that Peter Murphy came 3 points from making it into the playoffs. Almost got Connor Sawyer there at the end. So we were focused on the entirely wrong driver, but he was so close, and so there you go. So let's give you the official run through. Nick Nickerson makes it in. He is the number 1 seed, has 6 wins. Ricky Hart Jr. in second with 2 wins. Brandon Jackson in third with 2 wins. Then it's Brett Guzik, the 4 seed, with 1 win. Curtis Yancey with a win in the 5th seed. Benjamin Lacey, who had a good race tonight, in the 6th seed. Trey Ellis, who won the first race of the season, is the 7th seed. Then in on points, it is Kevin Foster, the hard-charging tonight. Cody Welch came very close to being in there in yellow text. Mark Allen Bivens, who had an incredible season. Jason Greenwell, who had a super consistent season. Matt Crockett, who's flown kind of under the radar, but man, he's done well for himself in points. Tony Hilbrands, who was already locked in on points as well. He's had an up-and-down season, has had some bad luck, but he's well deserves to be in the playoffs, and he's the guy to watch out for in the round of 8. But Hunter Henry makes it in after not making the race tonight. Great to see he makes it in, and Shanti Henry, who was tonight's fan profile, I'm sure is going to be happy to see that, as many of his viewers are. He is the fan favorite for a reason. Eddie Hagge makes it in. David Lakey as well. Michael Ramos, who has been talked about by so many guys here. You may have noticed by Ricky Hart. I think Cody mentioned him. I think Nick mentioned him. All these top guys are mentioning Michael as somebody to watch out for. He did miss some races this season, so Keep an eye out for the 27, and then it's Connor Sawyer makes it in as actually the final seed, just 3 points behind Christopher Ferreira, who is your final driver in this season's playoff. So there is the playoff grid, and that means that once we get it updated and once we get the graphic out for you, you can go to the Bandit Racing League official Instagram and start making your picks. Make your bracket, people. We are so excited. We'll work out an official prize for you. It's going to be fun. I actually can't wait to make mine. I think that first round of 8 is going to be really exciting. I think there's going to be some surprises in there. And actually, now I'm going to ask Evan, now that we have it up, we have everybody in the order there. Based on tonight's race, the picks you made, is there anybody you think is kind of under the radar, somebody that is maybe lower on that list, but you think has a good shot to make it far this season?
Yeah, the guys that I would definitely pick from there, if I'm just thinking about guys who are lower on that list, the name that immediately jumps to mind is Michael Ramos, the driver of the 27 truck. The only reason that he's really lower is because he hasn't been able to make every single race. I feel like if he had been able to make every single race, I feel like he'd be right up there with Cody Welch, locked in on points. He would be in that general range. So I feel like if Ramos is able to make these races, then he can go really deep in the playoffs. And I feel like Christopher Ferreira is one of those guys as well. I feel like he could go really deep in the playoffs as well. But, you know, the more I look at this, I think of all the drivers that could honestly go deep in the playoffs with just a little bit of luck, just them doing good at the right track. You know, any of these drivers can go really far. But yeah, if I'm picking one that's lower down, that probably I look at it and I think looks can be deceiving. Definitely Michael Ramos.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the hot pick I think a lot of people are going to have. I think of him as a top 10 guy in the series, to be honest. Top 10 guy on this list for sure. So yeah, I think Michael would be on my picks, but I don't want to spoil them. I'll have them out there for next week, and I'll post them as well on the Instagram, so you'll all see them there when you head over. But again, Bandit Racing League official, go check it out on Instagram. Christopher Ferrari is doing such good work over there. He's doing great stuff, and there's going to be all sorts of fun content over there. Some of the graphics you'll see on the broadcast, you might see there first, so you get some information that way, and you can do the bracket challenge. I'm hoping for like at least 25. I want to get a whole bunch, get some competition here, and the best bracket with the most correct picks and the correct spots will win a prize. So there you go. It's been a fun night overall. And now it's time to announce our other winner of our other sweepstakes besides the t-shirt giveaway. Unfortunately, Trey Ellis's giveaway. We really appreciate everything Trey did tonight. The 4-track had a good run for himself early. Unfortunately, Nick doesn't want you guys to be happy, so he did not allow for a first-time winner this season. So unfortunately, those picks do not come to fruition. That contest will go unanswered. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, honestly, if Trey does it for a future week, and maybe we can put a bounty on it. If we have a first-time winner, maybe even I'll put it out there, and we'll get a prize for whoever can pick each week, a first-time winner to win a race. But without any more stalling, your winner for trivia this week is I actually forget what his YouTube name is. I know what his real name is because we've talked in the past, and he's a longtime fan, so he was almost one of the interviews for this week. But Budget Rides Off-Road, as he's known on YouTube, otherwise known as, I believe, Brian DeChaney. You are our winner for trivia. Woo! Yay! Let's give a round of applause for Brian DeChaney. Is the winner of our third trivia round of the season. You win yourself a t-shirt. I will get you the email and all the information you need to go talk to Bill Harkins and get all that set up. You've been a long-time viewer, so we're more than happy to appreciate you. I know you won't be happy because you're here for Cody Welch, and unfortunately he was heartbreakingly close. Again, maybe we'll end the broadcast again on that close-up at the final shot there at the line, but what a race it was. What a day. Fan appreciation. Thank you, everybody, for participating and everything, and all of our festivities, all of our sweepstakes, and so many viewers tonight. I hope many of you, if you stuck around this long and you like what we're seeing here at the Bandit Racing League, it wasn't completely polished all the way through, but gosh, it was fun. Gosh, it was a great race, and the playoffs are going to be great. Evan and I put a lot of work into this, making sure things are set up each given week, that we have new stuff, and the playoffs are just going to be great. It's going to be high intensity racing. We get to pick out a champion. Some guys we talk a little bit less about are going to be battling for spots and very important, very limited rounds in terms of how many drivers make it. So it's going to be great. And I want to give it an opportunity because it's fan appreciation. I know I have a lot of people that watch these broadcasts for me, so I'll do kind of my thing in a minute. But Evan, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to there on your end that watches you, and any fans you want to appreciate?
Yeah, just shout out to my parents. I know that they're watching a couple times, but really just shout out to everybody that watches. Right now we've still got 14 people hanging out here just listening to the two of us go on about stuff. I just really appreciate every single one of you guys. Every single one of the however many was here tonight. anybody that whether you come for a certain driver, whether you come for the racing, no matter what, just thank you to every single person that is able to make it here for any reason at all, even if you just stop in for a couple minutes, even if you're just stopping in right now and you're just hanging out for the next 2 minutes. Thank you for being here. We really do appreciate him. There's one other person that I have to shout out, or really one other group of people, and I'm sorry that I always end up talking about football on these broadcasts, but I just want to shout out Tennessee, or specifically, I guess what is the opposite of shout out? State how much I hate Tennessee.
Slander?
Or the University of Tennessee. Yes, I just want to slander Tennessee. I feel like I need to mention that they're low down, they're dirty, they some snitches, their colors, it's not that orange that you can stand. Tennessee's colors, it's that throw up orange. It's that orange that's like you can't sit with. It's that like inside of a pumpkin orange, and I don't like pumpkins. Neyland Stadium, it's a garbage truck worker convention. So it's going to be a lot of fun this Saturday when Alabama beats Tennessee. I just had to mention that in. So now this is your turn, Marshall. We'll get back to racing. Stop talking about football.
I always appreciate hearing you talk about football, and that was fan anti-appreciation. So I like that. We got to balance it out a little bit. That was plenty there. Thank you, Evan. Thank you as always. And yeah, so just some people I want to shout out. I talk about them every once in a while, and here's my particular fans. First of all, not somebody that is like particularly that my friends or family, though I would consider a friend. Thank you, Shanti Henry, for doing the driver profile interview tonight, or the fan profile interview. And shame Hunter wasn't here. Yay, we'll do more claps. But yeah, shame Hunter couldn't make it tonight, but he's in the playoffs. He's there, and she always makes it out in the broadcast. I know she's busy because her daughter's wedding is this week, so wish you best of luck. Best of luck to your daughter with that. And yeah, and just all things considered, thank you for doing it and stopping by and for being such a loyal viewer. Same with Brian for winning the trivia contest. Just such an awesome dude. And I've talked to him in the past. Maybe we'll get him for an interview sometime in the future. But people on my side, first of all, my dad, Marshall Crocker Sr., the reason that my name has a little bit at the end there, which is actually more NASCAR than I ever thought about before I got in this series. So I think that's pretty cool. But he makes a point of watching these races all the time. He's the guy that I interact with racing in real life with. He's the guy who got me into it at the very start, and is the reason I have this sim behind me. Is the reason I have this PC for broadcasting. Is the reason that I know somebody's often, if not always, out there watching me. So I really appreciate it. Fans of my own are awesome to have. I also want to thank Scott Norman, the guy that I kart with in real life up here in Canada. I feel bad because somebody that down there in the comments was talking about how they were also from Canada, and I always appreciate the Canadian patriotism because I'm not a patriotic guy, but us Canadians got to stick together in this series. So yeah, thank you for that, and shout out to all my fellow Canadians. But to Scott Norman, the guy that I kart with every week, he's got his finals for karting this Saturday. I've got mine on Sunday, so it's the end of the season for me. So I got some big things going on in the background. But he supports plenty of people in the karting world, including me, when I was coming up through the ranks. So thank you, Scott, for often watching these. I think he was in there tonight. Other than that, I want to little shout outs to people who've watched over the years who've come on these broadcasts. My stepmom, Amy Jo, she's watched plenty of times. I know my own mom, Amy, has come on here plenty of times to watch a couple broadcasts. Even people that don't watch me anymore. I know my ex-girlfriend made a point of often watching it. There's no way she's ever going to see that, but I appreciate her. So just in general, anybody who's ever watched me, even if you come on for a week, I really appreciate it, and everybody does. So again, we couldn't do what we do without you guys, and that's why we wanted to take a moment to appreciate you. And thank you again to Christopher Ferreira. I'm so glad to see he made the playoffs because he was tonight's race sponsor, and he came to us and said, hey, this would be a cool thing to do, and we really wanted to put all this stuff together, and he was cool with it. So thank you so much to Christopher Ferreira. Thank you so much to you guys, and what a race. What a race today. We're ready for the playoffs. It was a fun race. What a finish. And the one thing I forgot to do, so besides the pre-show being out of order because YouTube didn't agree that it was time to start the broadcast, I do just want to plug the Bandit merch one time. We gave away some t-shirts tonight, so for those of you who unfortunately weren't able to win some t-shirts, I do want to give you guys the way to do it. I want to give you guys the info you need to go get some of your own. So here's the Bandit Racing League website, always in the description. Go check it out down there. Here we got plenty of variety. We've added a whole bunch of stuff in the last couple weeks. You're gonna see as I scroll through the different menus here, so you can see some of the examples of what we got. We got lots of tank tops, and as somebody who's really trying to get into a workout regimen once school is done being busy, I could use a Bandit Racing League tank top myself. You got some mugs, we got some face masks. So don't think it's just t-shirts and all that stuff like that. We got hoodies, we got some hats now, we got some stickers. Bill Harkins is always working every week. He's doing great work, putting in plenty of time, trying to make this, trying to make the merch as appealing and as variable as possible. So there's something out there for everybody. Go to the link in the description, go check it out. And to those of you who want a t-shirt, I am so happy to hear it, and I know there's plenty of longtime viewers I saw there who were in the mix, including Brian, who won trivia. So shout out to all you guys. Thank you so much for everything you guys do. And well, that being said, it is now about time to sign off. Thank you, everybody, on behalf of both myself and Evan, all the admins of the series, Bill Harkins, Matt Crockett, all the drivers. Thank you for everything you guys do. And it's time for the playoffs next week. So one more time, we're going to show you the schedule as well, just so you know what the rest of the season looks like. Four races in the first round: New Hampshire, Dover, Watkins Glen for the final road course, Pocono. Round 2 is Eldora, Darlington, Myrtle Beach. And round 3 is Talladega, the always crazy super speedway, and Charlotte Motor Speedway to round off the season. What an end of the year it's going to be, and thank you, everybody, again, for everything you guys do. On behalf of myself and, again, and Evan Wall, this has been the Fan Appreciation 85 at Auto Club. And let's head off next week. We'll see you next week for the start of the playoffs. And for those of you that have won t-shirts tonight or have won any giveaway, you'll get your emails with all the information you need sometime tomorrow. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.